All right, time to go home. Well, for a lot of you, it's also time to go to work for some of you. Here's what's getting in the way. Antioch got a crash 24 westbound at Haywood Lane. Bellshire, road work, right lane blocked. Briley Parkway southbound between 24 North and Brick Church Pike. Over by Belmont, got a crash 14th Avenue south at Wedgwood Avenue. Paragon Mills, a crash. Nolensville Pike, just north of Harding Place. I'm Ken Weaver.
Here we are, friends. Here we go. It's another day in paradise on the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, 8 minutes after 3 o'clock. Happy to have you with us this Thursday, January 29, 2026. We've lots to get into and 4 short hours to get it all in. I'm glad you're here. I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful that you're making it, especially for those of you without power. And I know there are many of you listening to us right now that currently are without, and I'm sorry for that. I wish that there was more that we could do for you. We're going to try to do our best to get you valuable information that might be of a timely nature, and do so in a way that apparently NES can't manage to do it. We've got lots of different storylines to break out with regard to the power outages that continue to plague much of the Metro Nashville area. Sad to report that there's no relief in sight for some of you. And sad to report that there's no relief in sight in terms of communication practices when it comes to Nashville Electric Service. We're going to try to break all of that down for you. Take your telephone calls at 615-737-9986. If you have any information that you believe is valuable on a 100,000-watt radio station or on the various platforms that we find ourselves on a day-to-day basis, then you're invited to call in the show or super text if you are of the shy type. If you're the shy type and don't want to call us, you're welcome to super text the show at the same number, 615-737-9986. Obviously, I'm the host of these proceedings until 7 o'clock. Jackson Williams controls the rest of the broadcast, making sure that everything that comes out of our speakers sounds as good as humanly possible. We appreciate his work. He's busy in there. There's Ken Weaver back in News Closet B. He gathers headlines for a living. He delivers those twice an hour and when it breaks. And there's been a lot of breaking news over the last week or so. Ken, how you doing back there?
Doing all right, man, and they're getting ready to wrap up this press conference.
Is that ongoing?
Yeah, it's ongoing. The CEO, Teresa Boyles-Applin, is basically just telling everybody that, you know, their number one goal is to get power restored, and they're working tirelessly, and she keeps saying the same thing over and over again. There's a gentleman who says that they're going to have to wrap up the press conference. The vice president of operations, Brent Baker, was basically handling most of the questions. And I can tell you the media there in the room, including Channel 4's Jeremy Finley, were asking very poignant questions, especially about whether or not they had a plentiful stockpile of poles to replace those that have been destroyed by the storm, and they did not have an answer. They said that they will have to go back and get that answer. We really ought to play this entire thing.
Do you have it?
I've got it.
All right.
I mean, we can set a time and maybe.
I want to play it. I know. I think the listeners need to hear it. I've not heard all of it. Can we play? I mean, how long was it, Ken?
It's run at least 20 minutes.
Okay. No, I think
I just need to get some stuff. Kind of fix it up.
What about, would 3:35 give you enough time?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So right after the bottom of the hour news at 3:35, we're going to rack and air the press conference with Brent Baker, our good friend Brent Baker, who was on with us early in the week, a couple of times, as a matter of fact. I think didn't we have him on Monday and Tuesday.
And then we were supposed to have him on yesterday
and they canceled.
At 5:05. They canceled at 5:03.
Right, saying he was in a meeting or something or another.
Yes.
And then now, so Jackson has news on this front. So this morning, Jackson and I communicated, believe it or not, we talk about the show before the show airs. And I said to Jackson, hey, we need to hit up NES and have Brent Baker back on today to try to answer some of these questions that are very important to the people without power. And tell me how that went, Jackson.
I was told I was told directly he is unavailable for any interviews today.
So he's unavailable. So press conference, all good. Interviews, not so good. Okay. All right. So for those of you who have power, we're going to air the press conference. Thankfully, we have the ability to do that. So maybe we can get you some information with questions being asked from the assembled press. But think about this for a moment. This is how dumb these people have become. People that need this information more than anyone are people without power. People without power, unless they have a generator, maybe they do, maybe they don't. We're most focused on those that don't, are we not? We should be. And those people don't have an ability to watch a television press conference. Those people don't have an ability to watch TV at all. One way or the other, the controlled nature of the environment of the press conference is one thing. Brent Baker telling us, oh, we're not doing any interviews today. That's another thing. It's my understanding they don't have a communications team at Nashville Electric. They have 460,000 customers. They decided that 200 linemen or 265 linemen, the figure floats. They say 200 linemen, they say 200 crews. They say, I've seen 365 linemen, I've seen 3. One way or the other, they had a woefully inadequate number of individuals staged pre-storm. That we know. Can you not just be a little contrite? I don't know. Maybe they were. I'm going to hold my water until I listen to this press conference along with you at 3:35 that just wrapped up. Mayor Freddie O'Connell is answering questions, talking about the storm aftermath. I was in contact with the mayor's office today. They're working on a time where he can get back on. Obviously, a lot of the questions that I'm asking the mayor's office, they have the same questions that they're trying to figure out from the Nashville Electric Service. Oh, but never you fear, friends. She's put out a statement and answered questions before the assembled press today. She being Teresa Broyles-Applin, who is the CEO and president of Nashville Electric Service. And I'm going to read this presser or this statement that she issued this morning via social media platforms. Once again, I'm told they don't really have a communications team over there, much less a crisis communications team over there. Well, they need one. Now, I'm also told that they've been in contact with a number of different organizations and agencies trying to figure out what they're doing wrong and what they need to do better. Well, you better. I mean, too little, too late, but whatever. Once again, we just want to know when the power is going to come back on, or just a semblance of what happened and why it happened. Just explain to us what's going on like we're grown-ups. Yeah, it might make us mad. Yeah, we might want heads to roll down the road. But be straightforward and open and not. Don't do this Nashville strong crap. Nobody wants to hear that right now. What we want to hear is that you've employed more people to get on the line. And once again, I just want to reiterate for the 50th time. My predisposition was to defend the linemen. My predisposition was to defend the people that were on the ground. My predisposition Monday night into Tuesday was to say, hey, they're doing the best they can. They couldn't have imagined how bad this was. But then you start getting the lay of the land and you recognize, no, they could have imagined how bad this was because many different electrical companies did. MTE did. Columbia did. Cumberland, for their part, did. Duck River did. All of these others did. And it's on scale, right? They cover fewer customer. They have a smaller customer base, but they have a smaller number of people working the line, too. Yet in some cases, MTE, for example, they had more linemen staged and ready to go than NES, and that is inexcusable. And that leads us to wonder, why is all of this happening? Where was their focus? Is their focus not on their customers? And if the focus isn't on the customers, then where exactly is the focus? Well, that leads us to start peeling back the layers of the onion and figure out who this woman is and why she is president and CEO of Nashville Electric Service to begin with. And what is her what are the priorities of the NES board? What are the priorities of the president and CEO? Exactly what have they been doing with their time when it's nice and sunny and 70 degrees outside to prepare for these types of things, if anything? And it doesn't seem like they've been doing much. I don't come on the radio station, believe it or not. I know I yell a lot, and I get a reputation for it. I don't come on here just to complain. I look at what we do as an amplification of what the city is going through, as an amplification of what the people are going through. And if in these times we cannot speak for the people who cannot speak up for themselves and not reach those positions of power or authority, then what the hell are we doing? And what I see is a lot of ivory tower looking down on the let them eat cake kind of crap. I mean, that's what that reminds me of. When I don't know this woman from Adam's House Cat, but when Teresa Broyles Applin says, Nashville strong, that's like let them eat cake. You're telling me you have zero clue what people are going through. And I wouldn't suggest that we live in a perfect world where the lights can go back on just like that, but I would suggest that you try to come across as you have feelings for these people and Nashville strong. What a load. But I don't come just to complain about these people because of their backgrounds or what there are individuals suffering, and I'll tell you, here's my fear. We had a fourth individual, and I first heard about it speaking to the mayor's office, and Ken Weaver's reporting on it. We have a fourth person in Davidson County that we now know has died as a direct or indirect result of the storm. That brings the numbers to, I don't know if Ken's listening back there or not. I think it brings the number to 13 or 14 people. 13 people.
Well, no, that'll be 14.
14 people statewide.
Yes, sir.
That have lost their lives. That's the fourth person in Davidson County, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir.
So my fear here, folks, I said it yesterday, that the state of Tennessee, we are the most giving, caring human beings on planet Earth. I believe that. And all I have to do, and I know it, and I've done it, and I've seen it, all I have to do is open up the airwaves and tell you folks, you fine people listening to this radio show, all I have to do is tell you, there's someone out there in need. And do you understand the number of people that step forward and say, yes, I'll take care of that? We had a guy yesterday that said he needed firewood, and I had 20 people reach out to me within 5 minutes. I'm on it. I've got it. And not one single, the guy said he could pay for it. And every single person that reached out said, no, I've got firewood. I'll give him the firewood. I'm not worried about money. We are a giving people, and we take care of ourselves to a large degree, but we have to know that people want to be taken care of, and that's the other side of that coin, is that as giving and loving and caring a people as we are, we're also very independent, and we don't want to impose on others, and we are loath to ask for help as a society, as a South, as a state. Y'all know I'm telling you the truth. And what my fear is that with 90,000 people still without power and 5-6 days into this now, that we're going to find other people. We're going to find other people dead because they froze or because of carbon monoxide poisoning or for some other reason directly or indirectly related to the storm. Because they didn't know where to turn to and they didn't know what to do. And some of that, if all of this leads to where I think it's going to lead, some of that lays at the feet of Nashville Electric Service. Does it not? How inefficient have you been? Not during this storm, not now. Now your feet are on fire. Now I get it. You're doing the press conferences. Now you're issuing the statements. Now I'm talking about yesterday and the day before and the day before that. I'm talking about 2 weeks ago. When you got the same weather reports that we did. And I would hope that you would get more detail than we do about what's going to happen. And when we first started talking about this a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, what did I hear from you? We've got 200 linemen staged and we're ready to go. 200 linemen for 460,000 customers? That's households. That's customer base. That's not people. 460,000? 200? Now, I don't know. We'll listen to the press conference together, but I would hope that the question was asked, do you believe now, looking back, that was adequate pre-staging? What decisions led to, what thought processes led to the decision to stage only 200 linemen? And then you got up to 700. And now you're up to over 1,000. This is obvious evidence that you recognize that was a woefully inadequate figure to begin with. I am not trying to make the perfect the enemy of the good, but this is not good. You know what is the enemy of the good? The crappy, which is what we're dealing with. We'll share this thought from the CEO. Obviously, a lot of you have thoughts on this matter as well. We continue to break it down. 90,000 or so continue to be without power. Let's pray those folks get the help that they need. If you are in need, I want to prioritize you. Hit me up on the Super Text line. Hit me up in any fashion you can. On the X machine, on Facebook, on the Super Text line at 615-737-9986, on my personal email. Help, my cell phone number's on my Facebook page. You can call my cell phone. We'll get you help if you need it. Someone should. And we're here for it. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Grace Point Healthcare is located in Franklin, Tennessee, but anywhere within the sound of my voice, they are worth the drive to Grace Point because they do things differently. A direct pay format, a direct pay primary care provider. What does that mean? That means that you pay Grace Point Healthcare, and then you can file with your insurance company for reimbursement after the fact. But in doing so, you eliminate the insurance company's influence on treatment options available to Grace Point Healthcare. In other words, the relationship between you and your doctor should be between you and your doctor, not between you and your doctor and the pharmaceutical company and the insurance company and this fella and that girl and all of that. No, the decision making should be between you and your medical provider, which is the way it always will be at Grace Point. And I love it. You don't wait at Grace Point Healthcare. They don't believe in it. No long wait times. Next day, same day often is the case, even for brand new patients. They even do house calls for those too sick to come in. That's what it's all about at Grace Point. That's why they call themselves modern medicine. Deliver the old-fashioned way. 599-6868 is the number. 599-6868. Give them a call today and schedule that next appointment with Grace Point Healthcare.
And more bad news for Nashvillians without power to heat their homes. It is going to be prolonged. We'll tell you just how long coming up at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Thank you for being with us. We're obviously covering the aftermath of the winter storm that hit last weekend. We continue to cover that as our primary story. There are other stories going on around the state, around the nation, and around the globe, and we will continue to follow those as well. But this is our area of focus because there's people in need in our community, and we want to try to help them as best we can. James is a tow truck driver. Mike wants to talk about NES. Carl, John, and Paul. I'm going to get to each of you. Hang in there. I don't have the time right now. I'm going to share some of this message. It'll make you want to throw up. And, well, it did me. I don't know about you. It is from Teresa Boyes Applin, the CEO and president of Nashville Electric Service, and she decided to write this morning. Many of you are waking up to day number 5 without power, which is a significant hardship. It's our job at NES to keep the power on, and we will not stop until every household in Nashville has power again. This storm was unprecedented for Nashville and our country. Not true, by the way. Not true. 1994, 2014. So there's been plenty of ice storms. This storm was unprecedented for Nashville and our country, affecting almost half the U.S. Its icy layers caused widespread damage across our service area to transmission lines, substations, and distribution networks. At this storm's peak, 230,000 Nashvillians were without power. I think that was 230,000 households, by the way. So that's more. Yes, sir. That's more than 230 Nashvillians. That's customers, and that doesn't include, kids and, 4, 5, 6-person families. But anyway, the largest number ever. Today we have less than 90,000 homes remaining without electricity. NES has brought in partners from around the country to engage additional available qualified crews. We've quadrupled our workforce in a few days, from 200 to almost 1,000 line workers. 200 was a woefully inadequate figure to begin with, and they should have known that. From 9 states and across Tennessee. We welcome this assistance and are grateful for the help. We still have many days ahead before power is restored to every Nashville household, and we'll continue to provide frequent updates on individual neighborhoods via our website and social channels. We do expect power to be restored for thousands more households today and tomorrow. For many, power will not be restored through the weekend or longer. We are prioritizing large blocks of homes and moving as quickly as we can. The temperatures hovering above freezing make the work tedious and slow, but we are using every possible resource to restore power quickly and safely to all. Please take all safety precautions in finding alternative shelter over the coming days and take advantage of Metro resources for safety.nashville.gov. So they're basically telling you to move somewhere else, to go somewhere else because you're not getting your power back anytime soon. I will share updates with you every day until we're on the other side of this crippling storm. We're seeing acts of selflessness, determination, and kindness all around us, and we are grateful to everyone for your partnership and understanding. That's the message from the CEO of Nashville Electric, Teresa Boyes Applin. Here's news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes, and more bad news for Nashvillians without power to heat their homes. As you just heard, many won't be restored through the weekend and into the first part of next week, and we've got another Arctic blast on the way. Nashville Electric Service Vice President of Operations Brent Baker explains the current situation.
There are 444 broken poles that we have found so far, and that number continues to grow. We have fixed 107 of those poles. 1,004 line workers are on our system, and we're moving to 1,084 at the end of the night tonight, and continue to grow. We have 257 vegetation management personnel, an increase of 42 since yesterday, and 450 NDOT, TDOT, and TEMA National Guard that are here helping us clear the roadways to make sure we can do restoration. And we have 180 assessors out assessing the damage. That assessment is key to getting the information that we all want to provide to the customers. We are at 80% of our system assessed, And that is what is going to help us get that information to our community about the details within neighborhoods.
Mayor O'Connell says a new partnership with the United Way and the Community Foundation is helping jumpstart recovery. Their Winter Storm Recovery Fund, he says, will provide essentials for families and help clean up neighborhoods as needs become clearer. United Way says money will first support disaster volunteer groups working on the ground. Tractor Supply today donated $250,000 helping distribute emergency supplies. Governor Lee has requested President Trump grant an expedited disaster declaration to speed up federal assistance, specifically in 23 counties, including Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Hickman, Murray, Robertson, Rutherford, Sumner, Williamson, and Wilson for housing needs, repairs, infrastructure. Damage assessments still underway and may add more counties to the list. And a fourth winter storm-related death confirmed in Nashville. A 92-year-old man found in his home on Blank Street with a generator powering his small heater with an extension cord. The generator was not working. It was 47 degrees in the home when that man was found. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, looking here near Antioch, we've got a crash 24 westbound at Haywood Lane, Belmont area, 14th Avenue South at Wedgwood Avenue, Nolensville Pike just north of Harding Place, and Belshire got some road work blocking the right lane, Briley Parkway southbound between 24 North and Brickchurch Pike. And I'm looking up here, 24 in Pleasant View. Westbound is moving again, but eastbound is not. I mean, it is complete stop and go, 24 eastbound starting at Pleasant View. I'm Ken Weaver.
Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy for the Wellness Institute of Nashville. The Wellness Institute of Nashville keeps your pain levels down. As a matter of fact, they eliminated my lower back pain, and I appreciate Dr. Mitchell, Dr. Ashley, and the rest of the team for that. Wellness Institute of Nashville can assist you, too, and in 2026, it's easier than ever, and it's less expensive than ever because they've got the big 47% off special going on for non-surgical decompression for the new year. That's spinal decompression, knee decompression as well, and they've got brand new technology in-house. The first and only clinic to have the incredible hydrowave technology, which stimulates your own stem cells to regenerate tissues to help new blood vessels grow for healing through a process called angiogenesis. That's a fancy way of saying it alleviates pain and helps get you back on your feet quicker and better than ever. Call 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009, or go online to painisbad.com, painisbad.com. Go to where I go, the Wellness Institute of Nashville. They have my seal of approval. All right, I know many of you are on hold, and I appreciate you holding. Just be patient with me for a second. I think we need to play this. This is a press conference that happened just earlier today, and I'm going to get Jackson's got the controls. I'm going to play a game of start and stop. When we play the game of start-stop, Jackson starts the audio, and the audio goes, and I scream stop, and he stops the audio, and I yell about it, and then I scream start, and he starts the audio. You know how that works. So Ken Weaver originally had the audio, and he's going to set up where we are because we've shortened this a little bit for time. So where are we when we start this, Ken? Where are we going to be in this process?
Okay, this is going to be starting during the Q&A part of the press conference. The CEO, Teresa Broyles Applin, and then Vice President of Operations Brent Baker, they gave NES's part, they gave their spiel and then opened it up for questions. Mm-hmm. And that's whenever you get to the meat of what everybody wants to know. And it runs for, I think it's about 20 minutes.
Okay.
And it starts with Channel 4's investigative reporter, Jeremy Finley, who starts asking some very poignant questions.
All right, let's go. Let's do it.
At this point, you have 86,000 people who still don't know when their power is coming back on. Has your notification system simply failed?
So customers have to know this information, and that is what we said from the beginning, is we have to get enough information on the ground about where all of the damage is and how fast we can restore. The size of this storm has really challenged us to be able to get that in the way that we can know where those customers' outages are. As I mentioned, we're at 80% assessment. Getting the assessments done will help us be able to know how to provide that information. So showing the information we're having, we are using tools that aren't the ones that we already had in place to make sure we can meet that need of getting that customer information.
There are people that are asking why in the world the notification system wasn't ready to go when this ice storm hit, why we are still waiting. There are some people that are without power for 5 days. You said today, it could be next week. How are people supposed to know what they should do?
Yeah, so that's what we're working on right now, is to try to get more of that information. You can see every day we're providing more information. We're working diligently to get that information out.
We're on day
All right,
5.
pause, stop. And I think the reporter there is about to ask the same. This is day 5 in the aftermath. This is a response that I would deem appropriate the day after all of this happened, right? This is day 5. And you're still saying you're assessing the situation and figuring things. You haven't figured it out yet? Once again, I am desperately trying to give these people the benefit of the doubt. I'm desperately trying not to micromanage their business, but my goodness gracious. And it's my understanding that this isn't even Brent Baker's regular job. You don't have a communications team? You don't have a subcontracted crisis management team? Continue tape, go.
At this point, you have 86,000 people who still don't know when their power is coming.
All right,
We're on day 5.
Thank you.
And
Absolutely.
it's still not ready.
Absolutely. We are working to get that ready to our customers.
All right, next question. There have been faulty NES alerts that have gone out, alerting people that their power is back on, but it is still not. You said yesterday that that would stop. Last night at 5 o'clock, people are still getting the alerts. They're still getting it today. What's wrong with that system?
We are continuing to evaluate that. That first time we went through it was because of the circuits being broke apart. Now we have found just one more technology piece that has to be improved. The teams are working on this diligently, watching to find those issues before they happen, and the magnitude of this storm has tested some of those systems.
I'm gonna go over here because I skipped you, so you, then you, and you.
All right. Hi, Austin Horn, also with the Tennessee. Thanks for taking our questions. I've been seeing some speculation from folks online and elsewhere, perhaps as a result of just this wait that some are experiencing still for power to return. So asking you to debunk or confirm something that we at the Tennessee have been seeing on socials lately. People keep saying that they're being told if a tree falls on their property and is on a power line, that the homeowners that are responsible for getting that tree removed before NES will come to work on the line. Could one of you weigh in on whether that's factual or not? Or
Yeah, so there's a couple things. So the main line that is out in front of someone's house, that is our responsibility to trim. When that service drop goes to the house, and we've talked about the weatherhead, That is something that is on the customer side while we're going, and so that is important. That part of that service is something that customers do have to maintain.
Stop.
What, sir, could you make that a
Stop.
little more clear?
Stop.
Yeah, so
You got to
coming
be.
out of the-
Stop. 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 Gosh, stop. Okay. So, did he answer the question that was asked? I don't think he did. He said, the guy said, is it the responsibility of the customer so they can get their power back to get the tree removed that's laying on the power line? And he goes, well, it's the our responsibility is at the pole, but it's their they're responsible for trimming trees in their yard, is basically what he said. What? No, we're not talking about during normal time. We're talking about right now. Who's responsible? I don't know if that power line's live or not. You're telling me that, I mean, did you answer the question? I don't think he answered the question. Go.
Yeah.
How are you communicating that then to customers? That's hard for me to follow in a
Yes.
press conference.
So we have brochures we have made, and we have those. We've had those available. I think there were another 1,000 printed yesterday. We are printing those out regularly and sharing that on our social media and our website.
So you're disseminating information about that now?
We have been, yes, for several days. Yeah.
To the best of your knowledge, at this moment, what is the timeline for that remaining 80 or 90,000 or so customers who
Yeah.
are without power? And kind of, can you talk about why things seem to be moving pretty slowly for those?
Yeah, I can do both of those. So one, at the beginning of the week, I said this was going to be a multi-day prolonged event and was looking at sometime closer to the weekend to be able to have a better idea. We're at 80% assessment, and that assessment is so key for us to be able to give accurate information. The one thing we don't want to do is give inaccurate information.
Can you stop for a second? And Jackson, I'm not doing this intentionally to freak you out, but I just genuinely, 80% of assessment of what? I don't think I understand. He's saying that it took them 5 days to assess the situation? Is that what he's saying? Am I hearing him wrong? Go.
Giving more information, which is what we're working on. To give that, as we get more progress in the field, that is how that we just have to get more done in the field to make that happen. And the constraints that we've talked about already is why that's taken some time. The reason that we have the length of time to get power restored, we are now setting more and more poles every day. It takes quite a bit of time to set a pole and to get that put up. With all of the resources we have here, it is still that more long duration work. When you first start a storm, there are a lot of sections that can be energized by having somebody go out and remove certain damage that is outside of that and get power restored. But right now, we are to that heavy lifting piece of putting poles in place and getting wire strung.
Okay, we're about to have to wrap up, so.
We got a lot more
All right, so is this dude actually saying he wants to wrap up? That was like 3 questions in. We're about to have to wrap up. What else are you doing? What else are you doing? You're not doing radio interviews. I know that. What else are you doing? All right, go.
Excuse me. I know, I was going to say, yeah, but hold on. You were up, and you were up, and you were up. You three were already up. We're sorry we can't get to all the questions, but we need them to get out to do their work. So let's go ahead and go. You.
To your knowledge,
What work?
Did potential line workers fail vetting, and if so, can you give us a ballpark of how many of those you turned away because they failed vetting?
I don't have that. What we have worked through is to make sure everybody is vetted, and so
Did some fail vetting? That's a yes or no question that I feel like you should be able to.
So we have a lot of people we are still talking to. Actually, every day when we are working through these people that are coming in, we are still working. A lot of people that I've been having conversations with, we are vetting through or seeing when they can come on safely for us as well. When can we take
Do you
them
know
on?
of anyone who's failed the vetting process?
I'm telling you right now, our vetting process is still underway every day. So we are still working with people.
He's
to bring
not gonna
people
answer
on.
the
So
question.
everybody we have been talking to,
Just
that
answer
if
the
we couldn't
question.
Get them today. We are still working to find out when we can get them.
Okay, and you started with about 150 personnel shortage is what a union rep told me a couple days ago of frontline workers. Either of you in your positions as leadership here, did you ever pass over or prioritize something at the expense of hiring more repair workers or frontline workers? Was that over the last year before this storm hit? Were you just not scaling up in the way that maybe you should have been, or was that not a concern of yours?
So yeah.
I'm not aware of a shortage. That's not a discussion. That's not something the union has brought forward to us. We have a robust workforce. We are continuously hiring, and it's all to support our community. So I'm I'm not aware of any such issue.
You wouldn't say NES started this storm with a shortage of frontline workers. Is that right?
So what we do all the time is ensure we get people hired on regularly. So we onboard all the time and have people.
Stop
we do have
the tape.
retirements
Stop.
on board.
I'm going to get you to rewind and get to the question again, if you can, Jackson. The answer to this question. Good gracious! I mean, I'm not the greatest in terms of public relations, right? Because I yell too much. But my goodness, would you say? You know what the answer to that question is? He's asking, did you have a shortage of frontline workers staged for this storm? You know what your answer is? Obviously, hindsight is 20/20, but obviously we wish we would have had more frontline workers on the front end. And we're going to work to do better every single day to try to prevent this from ever happening again. So to answer your question, if we want to look back, yes, we wish we had placed more frontline workers in place prior to this event happening. But we did not anticipate that it would be as dramatic as it turned out to be. That is on us. However, we're doing everything in our power to get the people in position. Now, as far as this vetting crap goes, why are you not vetting people on the front end? It feels like there was just a lot of sit and hope on the part of NES, where some organizations didn't sit and hope. All right, this is a good place to take a quick time out, and we'll get back to more of this. Get your telephone calls. This is a press conference that wrapped up about an hour ago with the Nashville Electric Service. Brent Baker is the male voice that you hear, and I think it's Teresa Broyles Applin is the female voice that you hear there. That is the CEO and president of the Nashville Electric Service, saying that she's not aware of staffing shortages at NES. She's not aware of that. Well, if she wouldn't be aware of it, then I suppose there's no problem. Don't worry if your power's out. They don't have a staffing shortage at Nashville Electric Service. Back after this. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for Contours and Contours LLC. You know, as we get older, getting off the pounds seems to get a little bit tougher every year, a little bit tougher. The reality is we need a little help sometimes, and my friends at Contours in Cool Springs are here to help both the men and the women in the listening audience. They can help you lose body fat and much more. They're ultra slim. Body contouring guarantees you'll lose at least 2 inches your first treatment, or your first treatment is free. Friends, this is non-invasive. It does not hurt. The results are instantaneous. I've gone through the process. I lost 2.67 inches going through the process. You can lose over 2 inches your first treatment alone, and that's just a $99 belly buster special. Just to introduce you to the process and to show you around and exactly what's going on at Contours LLC. They do facials. They're revitalizing. Their red light therapy will tighten your skin, restore your natural glow as well. Ask them about that. Ladies love that technology. By the way, the red light therapy facials would make a great Valentine's gift. How about that? That's right around the corner. Call today at 615-236-9960, 236-9960, or online, contoursllc.com.
Many Nashvillians without power to heat their homes are going to stay that way through the weekend and into the first part of next week. Meanwhile, in our nation's capital, Senate Democrats had 7 Republicans vote with them on a bill that would have kept the government running. We'll tell you what happened coming up at 4 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Yes, thank you, Ken Weaver. We'll get back to this press conference, question and answers, in just a moment. We have a few more minutes of that. I want to jump on the phones in the minute or so that we have and talk to as many listeners as we possibly can, many of you lining up. James is first up. Hello, James.
Hey, Matt. I appreciate you taking my call. I'm a tow truck driver for Copart. I run around the West End Avenue bowling area. It's really damaged over there. The problem I see is not the linemen, it's the trees. The trees are all over the lines. There's lines across the road. I've crossed like 3 or 4 going to get this Odyssey, and it's not the linemen. It's the crews that need to go in there and get the trees off the lines.
I'm not aware of anybody saying that the linemen were the problem, James.
Oh, I'm just saying it doesn't matter how many you got.
Well, those two things go hand. I mean, but the linemen have vegetation crews with them.
Well, I didn't know that they. I seen the heavy equipment, the little crews coming through.
Yeah,
those are not linemen, but I just see that they need more of those people to come in before they even touch the lines. I mean, you can't get the lines off without all these trees.
Well, no, yeah, there's no question. No question about that. No, you're right. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of tree issues that are going on. James, thank you for the telephone call. We'll get to that in a moment because Teresa Broyles-Applin had a few things to say about that last year. She became CEO of NES in 2022. I don't think she's going to make it out of 2026, but that's just my analysis. Who knows? Maybe she will. Maybe she'll get a nice bonus as a result of the fine press conference that she held earlier today. I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, got to get the trees down in order for the linemen to get it back up. Good call, James. We'll get to more of your calls in a moment. It's time for news on Super Talk.
Four o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Many Nashvillians without power to heat their homes are going to stay that way through the weekend and into the first part of next week, according to NES. Officials say they have found more than 400 broken poles and continue to find more broken during the winter storm. They say they have repaired 107 of those poles. And they are getting questions as to whether or not they have had an ample amount of replacement poles. They told a press conference today that they would have to get back to the media on that question. NES says it expects to have 1,088 line crews working tonight, along with more than 200 vegetation clearing crews, 450 Nashville Department of Transportation, Tennessee Department of Transportation, and National Guard members helping to clear the way for line crews. They say they are at 80% of total system assessment, which officials say is key to getting information that customers need. Meanwhile, there are still 2,486 Cumberland Electric customers without power from the storm. In our nation's capital, Senate Democrats voted unanimously to block bills that would fund large portions of the government through the end of September in order to block funding for the Department of Homeland Security and other agencies. It's in response to the immigration raids in Minneapolis that have turned deadly. The vote came as President Trump met with his cabinet without asking the Homeland Security or Justice Department chiefs to speak. ABC senior White House correspondent Selena Wang.
What Senate Democrats are pushing for is that they want this funding for DHS to be separated from the larger package that would fund several other critical agencies in order for the government to stay open and that they can buy themselves more time to figure out those critical policy issues that are relevant to DHS.
So 7 Republicans apparently voted with all Senate Democrats to block those bills today. Officials in the Democratic stronghold of Fulton County, Georgia, saying yesterday's FBI raid of their county election hub was an effort to intimidate voters. They're vowing to fight the seizure of 2020 ballots taken under a search warrant. And White House border czar Tom Homan says he believes the number of federal immigration agents in Minnesota will dwindle, but he says it's going to take more cooperation from state and local officials. Homan held a media availability this morning for the first time since replacing Border Patrol Chief Greg Bavino and in the aftermath of the shooting death of Alex Peretti. ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers.
President Trump's border czar Tom Homan Thursday said he's had productive meetings with state and local leaders in Minnesota and indicated a potential change in the number of federal agents there.
The drawdown is going to happen based on these agreements.
Homan acknowledged the administration has, quote, gotten away from its original mission focused on public safety threats.
And we're going to make sure we do target enforcement operations. And look, and I will say it again, we are not surrendering our mission at all.
Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Showing a crash 40 westbound before McCrory Lane in Davidson County, Battery Lane at Franklin Pike, Bellshire Roadwork, right lane block, Briley Parkway southbound between 24 North and Brick Church Pike. And in Franklin, got a disabled vehicle blocking the right lane, 840 eastbound at 65. I'm Ken Weaver.
All right, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is 7 minutes after 4 o'clock. Thank you for being with us. Glad to have you along for the ride. Whatever time you're able to give us, we're certainly appreciative of that. It is Thursday edition, Jan 29, our episode 967 of our visits together. It's day 374 of Donald Trump's second term as president of the United States of America. You can find us on 99.7 FM. We're also on TuneIn, Spotify, iHeart. We have our own app. You can download us and take us wherever you want to go at Supertalk 99.7 WTN. And then, of course, Talk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble. Like and subscribe us over there, or subscribe to us over there. We appreciate that. Several of you are very frustrated because I came off as angry at James. I did not mean to be short with James. I'm sorry if I was short with James. I just thought it was obvious that you had to get the trees off the power lines before you could repair the power lines. I'm sorry. And James is like, well, the linemen aren't blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, obviously the linemen and the vegetation crews work hand in hand. The vegetation crews have to maybe it's not obvious. I'm sorry. The vegetation crews have to make sure that the power lines aren't active before they can get the vegetation off the lines. And then the linemen can come in and repair the lines, and those two things work together. The point is that none of this is working together, and none of this is working toward getting power back to the people, and none of this is happening in a vacuum. MTE's done this work. MTE serves almost as many people as NES, and they have next to zero outages at this point. And I understand there are certain circumstances that are different. So I'm very, very sorry. 8949's mad at me. Don't start defending your stance and opinions with your authoritative personality. Just learn to listen to your callers or don't take them. The second any caller says something exactly the way that you don't want it said, you pounce. I love your show until your combative nature kicks in. I have to leave the room and come back. Learn to listen to the complete thought before you explode. I don't think I exploded. Did I explode, Jackson, to James against James? Was that an explosion? If that's an explosion, I'll apologize for an explosion if I exploded. Did I explode?
Nah, you've been much worse.
I was curt. And I apologize for my curt tone, James. You're trying to help us out here.
Your name's Kurt?
No. My tone was curt. My tone
that's your alter ego when you get angry?
My tone is named Kurt. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. I understand that there are fewer vegetation crews. The point is, look, I'm not the one that assigned the vegetation crews. I'll tell you what, you call some volunteers out with some chainsaws and we'll get you some vegetation crews. I'm fascinated. Hey, Matt Murphy, why'd you get angry with James? You said there's a tree cutting crew with every line crew. I didn't say every line crew. I said the tree cutting crews go hand in hand with the line crews. And if I said everyone, then I apologize. That's not right. They have 200 of them tree trimmers and tree branch cutters, whatever they call them, and they cruise out. You're wrong on now. Now. I'm just reading this as it's written. Now you got smart with James, and you was short with your producer when you said stop, stop, stop. Well, that's because he knows how start-stop works. James wasn't saying the problem was the line crew. He simply stated you need more of the tree trimmers and branch. Well, I don't think that's what he said, but whatever. One way or the other, James, I apologize. If you're still listening, I wasn't meaning to be curt with you. Obviously, it goes hand in hand. You got to get the trees down. There have been decisions made on the part of the upper echelons in management at NES not to cut trees down where they should have been cut previously. The fault lies there. I don't want us yelling at one another. So I'll just, I can stop worrying about it too. And I'm just trying to yell for the people. That's all I'm trying to do. Because people are without power. And sadly, we've had people die as a result of this event. And I'm very passionate about it. The only time I think you were combative was with Captain Terry, but it was deserved. That's funny. Old Cap. And Matt's me. I'm mean. I'm a mean person. James called in and James said that, well, the problem isn't the lineman. Well, that's what he said. He said, the problem isn't the lineman, Matt. And nobody has ever said that the linemen were the problem. Maybe a lack of linemen is the problem. Maybe the fact that we don't have enough of them is the problem. Maybe the fact that we don't have enough vegetation crews, which are also linemen, are part of the problem. But I never said the linemen were the problem. Management's the problem. Decision-making in the boardrooms, they're the problem. I respect the linemen, every single one of them. They're busting it. They're humping it, man. So I have every respect in the world for those folks. Mike is next up. Mike, thank you for your call.
Glad to do it. Now, in 2015, I retired from NES after 30 years. And at that time, the CEO was the highest paid man in the state of Tennessee. Now, around that time, they also started trying to get in more contractors, linemen, so they would not have to pay retirement to the people that worked at NES. And it's been a money thing all along. Metro government actually runs NES. They are not a co-op. They are, I don't know what you call it, but Metro government runs NES from the mayor down. And I'll step back and listen to you.
Well, Mike, I'm curious. What do you think changed from the time that? I'm just curious what you think changed between the time that you were there. I mean, what's been the major change in attitude?
I'm thinking. Well, I'm thinking myself from what I've seen and some of the people that are still there that I worked with. They're telling me that it's all about the money. Wherever to be a non-profit organization, they are making buku of money, and I believe that it's the more money they save by not having to pay like retirement. They go for low bid on insurance, on everything. It's always been a low bid thing, and you get what you pay for.
Well, and it seems that they have shifted their focus just in the research that I've done, Mike, just to answer kind of to respond to your comment, and I thank you for it. Looking into this new CEO and some of these new board members, it seems that they are prioritizing sustainability and renewable energy and these types of things. I was reading an article regarding the new CEO and her comments last year about the canopy in Nashville, and she was very insistent that they were not going to destroy the canopy. That it was very important to her and to others within the company that they protect the canopy. The quote was, this was from an interview on Urban League Live. She noted outsourcing the tree trimming. They outsource tree trimming, by the way, and that they avoid aggressive trimming practices and rely on species-specific plans that are overseen by in-house arborists. Quote, "We care about the canopy. We have to live here too. I don't want us destroying our canopy. We do species-specific trimming. We take a lot of pride in making sure that we are cutting the trees in a healthy fashion." Well, if you're prioritizing that and not prioritizing making sure the power lines don't go down when something like this happens, this is what you get. Let's talk to Andy next up. Andy, you're on the radio. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, I just wanted to give a call to try to help people out that may not understand what NES was trying to say about tree trimming. Anything that comes from the pole to your house across your property, they will not touch. So if that line is down, they're going to require you to get that tree off of that. Anything along the road, they're going to get all of that gone. But if it comes from the pole to your house, they won't touch it, as well as the service on the side of your house. So if that service is bent, if that mast and weatherhead is pulled away from the house, they won't repair that. They won't hook up your power until you have a electrician come out and fix that first. Then they'll come out and hook the power up to your house.
So so it's your understanding that any tree on a line actually on your property is going to be your response. Well, how do they restore power to the rest of the neighborhood? They just cut your line?
No, they they just leave it undone. So if you've got a pole out in front of your house and say a transformer, and there's a line that comes across your front yard to your house and ties into the pole on your house, the weatherhead.
Right.
That line right there, that's your service line. If there's a tree across that, they won't touch it. They'll repair all the others going down through there on the road, but if yours is down with the tree, you've got to get the tree off of that first, and then they'll make sure that it's powered to your house.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just ignorant how this works. So how do they cut that power that you understand? Let's see that line has been exposed and it's busted. If they hook up service and turn on service to my neighbor, doesn't that line become a live wire?
Now, the line will be live out at the street, but when they see that through there, you've usually got what they call a jack at that pole that engages your line.
Oh, I
they
see.
They just will not engage.
Yeah, they will.
jack
Okay. Yeah, that makes
until
sense.
You've got it.
That makes sense.
So it's good to look at this before they get there and get all this taken care of, so when they restore the power, you get it back to your house and you're not waiting.
All right, so I'm getting a lot of people telling me that you're wrong, Andy. I don't know. I'm just here trying to be a conduit of information, but I got a bevy of people telling me that they cut the power to they cut service off at the pole. 9345 says that's wrong. Power companies own and work up to the meter. They won't let you touch anything before the meter. What do you say to that?
I'd say that, if that's what they say, they're going to be deadly wrong. Because
what is I mean, no offense. I don't want to be accused of being aggressive with you here, Andy, but what is your experience?
I did insurance restoration for 20 years, and I had to remove those trees for insurance companies. I had to fix the services on the side of houses before they could get power back. And people are there desperately wanting power, and we're having to do that. So, and that's what the
a lot of people are telling me that the power company goes all the way to the weatherhead. So I don't know the answer. I don't pretend to know the answer, Andy. So I don't know. I'm trying to provide proper and correct information. I'm not trying to provide incorrect information. I'm not trying to argue with Andy. For those that get mad at me when they claim I'm trying to argue with the callers, I'm not trying to argue with anybody. I'm just saying I'm getting a lot of people on the super text line telling me that Andy is giving erroneous information. And then I'm getting people saying that the caller's right. So I don't know I will say this, if I have a tree down in my yard, I'm going to handle my tree, and I will get somebody to handle my tree, and we got to make sure that the power is out in order to do that, and that's fine. And I don't have enough experience to be able to answer that question adequately, so maybe someone else does. It's 21 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy, and I want to talk with you for a moment about Tennessee Men's Clinic. With 3 locations to serve you fellas, they can get you back in the game when it comes to intimate and romantic relationships with you and your significant other, and that's what it's all about. Too many guys rely on pills that don't work, that come with nasty side effects. There are better treatments. Sometimes it's a combination of treatments that finally unlock the results, but what you need is an analysis and an examination in-house with one of the qualified urologists at Tennessee Men's Clinic. You don't want to follow something that's online. You don't know what you're getting there. What you do is you come in. You don't have to settle for $99, as a matter of fact. Your appointment includes a full medical consultation, blood work, and if medically advised, they'll go ahead and give you a dose of treatment for use after the office. Look, let's go, fellas. Let's get back in the game. You can do this 3 locations, one in Clarksville. That's the brand new one, Midtown location, and, of course, the Cool Springs Franklin location, 615-208-9090, 615-208-9090, or online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com.
crash 40 westbound before. Thousands of Nashvillians without power, and many are being told by NES they will remain that way through the weekend and into early next week. We've got the very latest on that coming up at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
So I think I got it, and I think I can use my words, it is what I do after all, to describe it in a way, because I think everybody's right. I think Andy was right, and I think the callers, the super texters rather, are right too. And this is a nuanced discussion, but, maybe one that everyone's thinking about right now. So if I understand it properly, okay, the power pole belongs to the electric company. The line that goes from the power pole to your weatherhead belongs to the electric company. It is their responsibility to fix that line. But if your tree in your yard is on their line, you have to remove your tree before they fix their line. Y'all with me so far? It's your weatherhead. It's your anything attached to your building that is not that line with the line and the weatherhead attached. That's yours. That's your responsibility. So if that's damaged, they're not going to attach their line to your weatherhead until you fix your weatherhead. Similarly, if your tree is causing an issue where they can't reattach their line to your weatherhead, then they're not going to do that until you get that taken care of. I think that makes sense. It makes sense to me. I think I've described it properly. So at the pole, they'll take care of it. The line, that's theirs. The weatherhead's yours. Anything attached to your home is yours. Any tree that is affecting your ability to get power, that's also on you in your yard. In your yard, not on the right-of-way. So I think I've got it. I think I've got it until I look to my left to the super text line, and as soon as I look to my left, everybody's going to be telling me that I'm wrong. But I think I got it. Robert is next. Hey, Robert.
Okay, I'm going to play devil's advocate for you. Okay, you're the CEO of NES. First of the year, you have your personnel people in, and you have 500 linemen and 500 tree trimmers or whatever. And you don't know if this ice storm's coming. How many people are you going to hire at the first of the year, even though you've had these 500 people for the last 2 years and they've done a fine job?
I don't know. Is that I don't know the nature of what the question you're at. So you have 505. Is this an actual thing or is it hypothetical?
Hypothetical, but everybody's saying they need more people. They need more people. How do they know they're going to need more people the first of the year? When
they have the power companies have reciprocal relationships with other power companies all across the country.
Oh, yes, I agree. But everybody says NES should have more people. They should. Where are they getting more?
Well, MTE staged more people, Robert. Why didn't NES stage more people?
Well, I don't know. Look at Duke. Look how many people
just
Duke
hold on, Robert. Let's just talk. Okay.
Okay.
So, Middle Tennessee Electric serves roughly the same number of people and had far more crews staged than NES. Why do you think that was?
I have no idea. That's why I'm asking. I don't know.
Well, maybe because they anticipated the nature of this storm in a better fashion than the management at NES.
But where'd they get these people from? They hire people, or they go out and hire them off the
They're not. They're bringing crews in. I would assume. I don't know the answer to that question, but I would assume that due to the nature of the reciprocal relationship that they have, that they can get other electrical crews, other lineman crews from other parts of the country. We do know, at least according to reports by multiple media outlets, that NES was offered the opportunity to hire union crews, and they told them no.
I mean, I know from past experiences when you have hurricanes coming through Florida, you've got all kinds of people stationed in the northern part of Florida. No, but nobody knew this ice storm was coming. You know, nobody knew it was going to be as bad.
I'm sorry, Robert. What?
I said, well, I lived in Florida when
No, you don't have to repeat all that. The last part. Robert, we were talking about this ice storm being a very serious situation a week and a half before it happened. So I don't understand what you mean when you say nobody knew this was coming.
At this catastrophe, this amount of ice.
Robert, MTE knew.
Okay. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just wondering.
Well, okay. I've been told by several listeners to this radio show that I'm not to disagree with anyone anymore. So I'm just trying to understand what you're saying. We were well aware. We were aware. We imparted upon. We offered information to the listening audience. I'm shocked that someone would say, "Well, nobody knew this was coming." What? When we talk about, and I understand that you have different levels of service and you have different numbers of customers and you have to scale it, right? I mean, I have 10 employees and 100 customers versus 100 employees and 1,000 customers, right? So I understand that it's scaled. But when you have Duck River Electric and Dixon Electric and Middle Tennessee Electric and Cumberland and Mount Pleasant and Columbia, all of those electrical services seem to have done something right to get their customers back online for the most part. And I understand, I'm trying to be kind as best I can to NES in understanding that they have a different set of circumstances because they are in a more urban area for the large part. But when everyone else has done it in a way where customers seem happy and satisfied, and there's this much anger moving toward NES, and there's this many problems, this many questions unanswered, I think it merits further conversation. 32 after the hour on Super Talk.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast. Another look at traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Thousands of Nashvillians without power, and many are being told by NES they will remain that way through the weekend and into early next week, although they keep working to restore power. Channel 4's Jeremy Finley and Stacey Cameron were at the Metro briefing today. They asked Mayor Freddie O'Connell for his response.
I'm wondering what you say to those people who have no idea if it's 1 day or 5 days until they have power.
I'd say that's exactly what we're also looking for from NES is indications of which parts of the city, if any, might be behind.
Have you gotten any indication from NES why so many homes are still without power and why the last 48 hours the restoration numbers have just crawled?
We know that they were able to restore power at the places that were easiest to restore, so that even with some additional capacity, the places that are seeing more slow progress or just simply more challenging terrain. I'm going to leave the rest of that for NES to say.
NES told a press conference today they're at 80% of assessment of the situation and therefore not able to say definitively when power will be fully restored. They do say that as of tonight, they will have 1,088 line crews working to restore power, even more vegetation clearing crews They have at least 200 of those. A fourth winter storm-related death in Nashville has been confirmed. A 92-year-old man who was found in his home on Blank Street with a generator powering his small heater with an extension cord with a generator that was not working. It was 47 degrees in the home when he was found, according to Metro Police. Meanwhile, there is still a significant number of Tennesseans without power under Cumberland Electric, 2,486 outages. This is an area east of 65 from Goodlettsville to Hendersonville, White House, Portland, and Gallatin. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, we've got a crash in Pegram, 40 westbound before McCrory Lane. We picked one up at Battery Lane and Franklin Pike. In Belshire, there is road work. The right lane is blocked. Briley Parkway southbound between 24 and Brick Church Pike. Midtown a wreck, Charlotte Avenue at 21st Avenue, and Broadway just east of 12th Avenue. I'm Ken Weaver.
Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for Alpha and Omega. Alpha and Omega, since 1998, they've been engaged in computer services for you, your business, your company. I'm telling you what, they do a great job. Michael and his team, they make sure that you're covered from tip to stern. That's why they call their business Alpha and Omega. They have emergency services available, but they are rarely used because they handle things on the front end. We've been talking a lot about that over the last couple of days, making sure you get it right on the front end. You don't have to worry about it on the back end. If you're a business owner, they take complete ownership of all of your IT issues. Internet, printer, email, servers, you name it, they take care of it, and you don't have to worry about it. Ransomware attacks go on every day. Cybersecurity attacks happen every day. You need to be secure, and that gives you the opportunity to spend more time with your business, not worrying about your IT. That's what it's all about. If you're a business owner, make the call that so many others have made to Alpha and Omega, 615-784-0096, 784-0096, or online at AandO.net. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Back to your calls coming up in just a moment. I see you, Todd, Pat, Stephen, Daniel, James, and Justin. Not necessarily in that order. We'll get to you momentarily. Our good friend Congressman John Rose joins us on oh wait, that's the wrong line. A good friend Congressman John Rose joins us on the Matt Murphy hotline to discuss the recent power outages and what seems to be certain failures by the Nashville Electric Service. John is also running for governor of the great state of Tennessee, and he joins us today. Hey, John, how are you?
Matt, thanks for having me on the show. I'm great.
I hope that I hope all's well with you and your family in terms of home base, that you guys have power and everything's A-okay?
We do. You know, I think as this storm moved across the state, as it got over our way at the edge of the Cumberland Plateau, we just didn't get the ice on the, freezing to the tree limbs and the power poles, power lines like you all got in the middle, farther west in Nashville, and certainly Sumner County seemed to have been hit hard. And then our friends over in southwestern Tennessee, McNary, Hardeman over in that area, they got hit really hard as well.
John, any thoughts? And really, I wanted to get your thoughts on what could be done better potentially. Maybe it's too early. I think we're getting a pretty clear picture about how certain electric services, were better prepared, better staged, forecast what was going to come a little bit better than others, and the focus has been on Nashville Electric Service, and I understand their circumstances a little bit different. I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, but it's becoming a bit inexplicable to me that here 5 days on since the storm happened, that they don't have more answers to some 90,000 customers that are currently without power.
Well, it is definitely frustrating, and I think probably, in fairness, it is a little bit early. This seems to, have hit the state very unevenly, and you can see that if you're out and about driving. I mean, just in the last 20 minutes, I'm driving north up through Middle Tennessee, and I've gone from a place where there was no snow, and now there's 3 or 4 inches on the ground still left. So, it did not hit the state evenly. I think we'll probably learn more about that as we go on. But as I'm talking to the folks at the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency and to the mayors in counties, including in Metro Nashville, and the folks in the electric service distribution business, they confirmed that the experience was very uneven across the state. And in fact, it sounds like Southwest Tennessee got hit really hard. There are just fewer people there and wider open spaces. And so when you get into Davidson County, I think one of the things we may learn, if we learn something, is that the tree trimming program in Davidson County probably wasn't what it should have been. And so as a result of that, you've got a lot more trees down on lines, a lot more broken poles, and maybe there's a lesson to be learned there. But that's a trade-off. Citizens don't like it when you come out and you trim their trees heavily. So this is the price that you pay for not having taken care of that business as time went on.
Yeah, I think you're right, John, and I hear you. I mean, and I think you're exactly correct in what you say. At the same time, I just wish that the communication is better, in as much as if you have somebody communicating, hey, guys, remember when we told you that back last summer when y'all didn't want us to cut the trees back in Nashville, that there might come a time where that's a problem. Well, I just wish there was a better line of communication going on right now.
Well, I think that's for sure. And certainly we see when you look at the number of outages that are still being reported across Tennessee, which is just above 100,000, and you've got well over 80,000 of them in the NES service area. That does either Davidson County got hit really hard, or there's a disparity with how they've been managing things up till now, or
right.
They're not moving as fast as they should be. The linemen that I've talked to and the folks on the ground say they're just having a hard time getting into areas. There's a lot more of the cutting and throwing that has to happen to clear out the pathway. The big bucket trucks just can't get into the neighborhoods where these broken poles are, and that number is still rising, now approaching 500 from what I'm told. broken poles, which will set a state record for any storm of this sort. So it is a bigger event than we've had if this holds. And so, that will explain part of the frustratingly long time that it's taking to get people's power back up.
John, while we have you on the line, I mean, obviously there are other matters going on. Our area of focus has been the weather and the aftermath and the fact that we still have customers, folks, citizens, Tennesseans without power. At the same time, the world moves on, and I know that in your capacity as a congressman for the 6th Congressional District, you're closely monitoring and a part of the conversations regarding the possibility of another government shutdown. With everything that we're seeing in Minnesota, and I'm very curious your thoughts on all of that, but does that bring up, I did not think that I'm just going to put it the way that it comes to mind, John. I didn't think the Democrats were dumb enough to try this trick again, yet with everything happening in Minnesota, despite the fact that it's my understanding that DHS and Immigration and Customs Enforcement is fully funded through 2028, they're now saying that they're not going to move on any budget that includes funding for those programs, and that brings up the possibility of a government shutdown. What say you about all of this?
No, I think it's frustrating. I agree with you. I thought that after they saw the debacle of the 43-day shutdown, the Schumer shutdown last fall, where they shut the government down to fight for continued health care funding for illegal aliens, that surely they would not shut the government down to fight to keep criminal illegal aliens from being deported from this country, and it's that simple. But they are shameless, and it is just breathtaking that you have elected Democratic leaders in these various states, and most notably in Minneapolis and Minnesota, that are essentially calling for anarchy, certainly encouraging citizens to go out and interfere with federal law enforcement agents that are just trying to do their job. That's really amazing, and so it's tragic to see the loss of life. But what do you expect when you encourage the citizens that maybe want to protest? That's fine, but you can't go get in the way of and get involved in altercations with federal law enforcement officers that are doing their job and not expect there to be problems like the ones we're seeing in Minneapolis. And so it just really is unconscionable that we've got elected officials, including many, many members of Congress, and now they're going to shut the government down, to fight for some of the most heinous criminals in this country that are here illegally to begin with. It's inexcusable.
What is your prediction? Do you think that they will shut it down?
That seems to be where we're headed. I think they have split apart the appropriations bill that we sent, and I think we're headed toward a showdown on this. And I don't think the House goes back. So in the prior to the deadline here. So my guess is we will have at least a partial shutdown unless these Democratic senators relent and decide not to close the government yet again.
Congressman John Rose, our guest, you bring up and we talk about Minneapolis, Minnesota, and how that has descended into chaos. It occurs to me not that I expect that any fair-minded media outlet exists, absent maybe Fox News and Supertalk 99.7 WTN, but a fair-minded media outlet could juxtapose the difference between Minneapolis, Minnesota, who refuses to work with federal agencies and federal officials, versus Memphis, Tennessee, who has worked with, obviously the state led the charge there, worked with the federal agencies, and every metric that I've seen, Memphis, Tennessee has been a wild success in terms of eliminating illegal alien activity, finding missing and lost children, and reducing crime.
Absolutely, and I think you can think about all the places where there isn't news being made across this nation and see the example of what happens. Certainly, today I visited with 4 sheriffs here in Tennessee, and what we see is they're cooperating with federal agents' efforts to find the worst of the worst, and there's no problem. And so, there is no opportunity for that kind of interference because, frankly, the local authorities are getting these people off the street and then handing them over to the federal authorities, and they're being deported where that's appropriate. And so it's just frustrating. I think it bodes poorly for the future if we are going to have elected officials who are advocating for lawlessness, and that's essentially what we see happening.
You are obviously running for governor of the state of Tennessee. You sound supportive of this effort. Would we expect that, were you honored with the privilege of serving as governor, that you would continue that relationship with the federal government and the Trump administration?
Well, absolutely so. I mean, I know we lived through the Biden administration, and as conservatives, we were very frustrated with President Biden and his administration's failure to enforce the laws and the Constitution of this country. So we get what it's like to not have things going our way. The difference is that our way is to enforce the laws. I mean, there are many of us who'd like to see the laws be tougher. There are many of us who would like to see us, further the president's goals of getting illegal immigrants out of the country and restoring electoral integrity and things of that sort. So we can appreciate the frustration when it's not going our way. But the truth is, if the law is on your side, the law is on your side. And in this case, you have President Trump and ICE officials and federal officials enforcing the current laws. We'd like them to be stronger, but they're enforcing the laws we have, and that's what you have to depend on that. And it's frustrating to see these mayors and governors that are fighting this, and even federal judges that are obstructing what President Trump is trying to do. We know that in the long run, I think right will triumph with the court system, but that takes so long, and then it's just so saddening to see the loss of life that's being encouraged. And I frankly believe the governor of Minnesota and the mayor of Minneapolis essentially have blood on their hands for fostering and encouraging this behavior that has led to the loss of life that was so unnecessary.
Congressman, always good to catch up with you. Thank you for your perspective on the icy winter storms that came through the state and your perspective as to what's going on in Washington, D.C. We look forward to the next conversation. Come see us soon.
Thank you. It's a great honor and privilege to serve the people of Tennessee, and we'll keep working hard to try to facilitate anything we can to get power back on for so many of our Nashville constituents and Tennessee residents that are suffering through these this storm and the aftermath of it.
There he is. There's John Rose. Thank you, John, for your time and consideration today. It's 52 after the hour. We'll get back to your telephone calls momentarily on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for the Glock Store. You guys hear me talking about the Glock Store all the time. I go out there all the time. I absolutely love it. It is my one and only shop when it comes to guns, accessories, getting trained up in their shooting rooms, never lanes, shooting rooms at the Glock Store. And, as you hear me talking about the Glock Store, I'm going to alert you to the latest and greatest Glocks that are coming down the line. And the Gen 6 Glocks, I mean, obviously, they don't do this every day, right? Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5, Gen 6 Glocks are here. The 19s, the 17s, and the 45s, they came in and they went out because they were pre-ordered. But there are more pre-orders happening right now. And now that they've been in, they have the 17, the 19, and the 45s with the enlarged beaver tail, the flat face trigger, the trigger guard undercut, the RTF6 texturing, and the new optic system available at the rental counter, so you can test a drive to decide if you want to buy. And trust me, you're going to want to buy. And when you do, when you pre-order your 45, your 17, your 19, all you need to do is mention my name, Matt Murphy, and you'll receive a free magazine as a result. That is from us at the Matt Murphy Show and from the Glock Store to you. The Gen 6 are different. They're great. They're the best ever produced, and we want you to have them at the Glock Store. Go by and see them. They're on Airlane Drive just off of Elm Hill Pike. Elm Hill Pike is just off of Briley Parkway, and Briley Parkway is available for anybody and everybody. Minutes away from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere. It's the Glock Store. I watched as housing prices were going down in the Middle Tennessee area. I watched as interest rates started going down, and I decided to pull the trigger and buy my home. And when I did, obviously, the one and only that I would use for my mortgage is Accurate Mortgage. I believe in Mike and his team of incredible experts. They're going to get you the best mortgage rates possible, and they are a trusted local advisor. Accurate Mortgage helps guide you through the crazy market for your home purchase or a refinance. This is not an internet deal, right? Not some Joe Schmo off the internet. These are folks that you talk to every day. They're part of our community. Unlike the big online lenders, Accurate Mortgage, you are a name. You're not just a number on the top of a form. Now, listen. Rates might be a little bit higher than they were 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago. But bottom line is this. They've come down enough that you can take advantage of that high interest credit card debt that you may have, and you can do a refi to renovate your current home or pay off that interest on your credit card debt. Let the loan advisors of Accurate Mortgage help you understand what would be advantageous for you. And if it's not the right time, here's the nice thing. They'll tell you that it's not the right time. Accurate Mortgage, you can trust them. Accurate Mortgage, go to AccurateMTG.com. AccurateMTG.com. They're my mortgage company, and I want them to be yours. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you. Accurate Mortgage, NMLS 129944. Rates and terms subject to change. Equal housing lender.
Thousands of Nashvillians without power to heat their homes, and it looks like it's going to be that way for the unforeseeable future. We'll give you some updates on that. Also, a lot going on in our nation's capital today we need to tell you about. How 7 Republicans joined with Democrats to block some spending bills. These stories and more at 5 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, not enough time to get to a call or two. I don't want to shortchange anyone. So if you give me a little bit of patience, we'll get right to your calls coming up just after the top of the hour. We, you know what? I think it's most important that we talk with you, especially considering that 90,000 of our potential listeners, 90,000 residents in Middle Tennessee remaining without power. Traffic lights are out on Nolensville Road in the Woodbine 440 area, according to 6766. Here's some good news. 6744 says, we just got power back today. The street got new poles and lines. Just this summer, had new lines to the house last year. Well, I'm glad you've got power back now.
Yes, sir.
That is good news. 615-737-9986. We'd love to hear from you. It's 5 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Five o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Thousands of Nashvillians without power to heat their homes. Many are now being told by NES they will remain that way through the weekend and into the first part of next week, although they continue to work around the clock to restore power. NES Vice President of Operations Brent Baker told a news conference today about one of the issues causing the slowdown.
The reason that we have the length of time to get power restored, we are now setting more and more poles every day. It takes quite a bit of time to set a pole and to get that put up. With all of the resources we have here, it is still that more long duration work. When you first start a storm, there are a lot of sections that can be energized by having somebody go out and remove certain damage that is outside of that and get power restored. But right now we are to that heavy lifting piece of putting poles in place and getting wire strung.
Yeah, he says they have found more than 400 broken poles and continue to find more. They say they've repaired at least 107 of those poles. NES expects to have 1,088 line crews working tonight, along with more than 200 vegetation clearing crews, 400 Nashville Department of Transportation, Tennessee Department of Transportation, and National Guard members helping to clear the way for line crews. NES says it's at 80% of total system assessment, which officials say is key to getting information they need to give customers, but they need 100% assessment. A fourth winter storm-related death in Nashville confirmed today. A 92-year-old man who was found in his home on Blank Street with a generator powering his small heater with an extension cord with the generator that was not working. It was 47 degrees in the home when that man was found. Meanwhile, still a significant number of Tennesseans without power under Cumberland Electric. 2,486 outages east of 65. This covers Goodlettsville, Hendersonville, White House, Portland, and Gallatin. And in our nation's capital, Democrats had the help of at least 7 Republican senators who voted to block a package of spending bills. And now we're threatened with another government shutdown.
President Trump today expressed optimism that a deal can be reached to avert a partial government shutdown.
Hopefully we won't have a shutdown. And we're working on that right now. I think we're getting close. The Democrats, I don't believe, want to see it either. So we'll work in a very bipartisan way. I believe not to have a shutdown. We don't want a shutdown.
There are ongoing talks between the White House and Senate Democrats over funding for the Department of Homeland Security. Democrats want to separate out DHS funding from the larger package that includes other federal departments and continue negotiating changes to ICE. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. In Bellevue, 40 westbound is closed between Bellevue, US 70 South, exit 196, and McCrory Lane, exit 192. Got a crash there. And a disabled vehicle blocking the left lane of 24 westbound near Old Hickory Boulevard North, Tennessee 45, exit 40. Bellshire still got that road work blocking the right lane. Riley Parkway southbound between 24 North exit 18 and Brick Church Pike exit 17. Antioch now an injury wreck. Murfreesboro Pike at Pinhook Road. I'm Ken Weaver.
Hello, friends, halfway home. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show, and I'm proud to be here at 5:07 this afternoon, this Thursday, Jan 29. Obviously, on episode 967, we continue to focus on the aftermath of the weather and the impending cold conditions that are to come. And I have a difficult time seeing sometimes because of the glare, Jackson. But is Ken Weaver back there? I have a question for Ken if he is back in
I'm here,
present.
Brother Murphy.
Hey, Ken Weaver, how you doing?
I'm busy.
Man, it has been a busy day. We're dealing with weather. We're dealing with the aftermath of it. And we've got another system coming.
Yes, sir.
And am I to understand that there's a possibility that we might get precipitation out of this in the form of snow?
Well, let me see. Let me see what the very latest is here.
That's what
Refresh
I saw.
it.
I thought I saw that.
A chance of flurries tomorrow before 4 p.m.
Okay.
And that's all I'm seeing.
That's good news.
Just a chance of flurries. So that's nothing that's going to, bring down more power lines.
That's good news. That's what I wanted to hear, Ken Weaver. I like it when you give us the good news.
But here's the bad news.
Okay.
It's going to be bitterly cold, Brother Murphy.
Yeah.
We're not, we might get above freezing tomorrow by 1 degree, but after that, it doesn't look like we get above freezing again until Monday.
Today was our big day to get the ice off of the roads.
Yes, sir.
And hopefully that has occurred for most of you. I understand that for a lot of folks, the side roads and the secondary and tertiary streets, they've not completely been cleared. But I can tell you from my experience, I don't know about you, Ken, driving in from Mount Pleasant, you get off. I mean, the Mount Pleasant roads are they're passable, they're okay, but you get on the traveled roads and they're fine.
Yeah. In between here and Murfreesboro, 24 is fine as wine. And in fact, in Murfreesboro, all the main roads are fine.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Now, one thing I do notice on my way home, I take 65 down to 440, then 440 over to 24. Now that overpass from 65 to get on 440, there's nothing underneath. It's basically a bridge. That is still pretty dicey.
Okay.
You got to slow down before you get to some of these bridges and overpasses. You still need to slow down because some of them they're still in the shade, and so they're not getting any sunlight.
Yeah, it was it was Dan Thomas that taught me the other day, and I don't know if you caught this, Ken, that he said north facing, you're all good, because apparently north facing, the way the sun comes across in the wintertime,
yes,
the north facing will get the sun. It's the south facing. I might have this backwards. I hope I don't. The north facing's good. South facing, you don't get the sun, and so you see the ice that continue. I mean, the ice has a difficult time melting when it doesn't have the sunshine hitting.
Yes.
Well, that makes sense. All right, so I've heard you tease this, and I've not heard the complete story. So while I have you, Ken, I need the complete story.
Okay.
So what did we? 7 Republicans did what now? They voted. What happened?
Yeah. So there's 6 funding bills to keep the government running through September.
Okay.
Well, Democrats unanimously voted to block it because now they're wanting Department of Homeland Security funding withheld.
Okay.
And apparently 7 Republicans voted with them on that. Now, I don't know if that's the reason that the 7 Republicans voted with the Democrats on that. I don't know if it's because the Republicans want DHS defunded. It may be a completely different issue. I have not been able to dig deep enough into it. I'm just kind of given the headline, that 7 Republicans voted with Democrats on that.
And that was in the Senate.
In the Senate.
In the Senate. Okay, yeah. I'll get the name of those Republicans, folks. I think I can tell you that one of them was Rand Paul. I would imagine
might have been Massey, Thomas Massey too.
Well, Massey would be in the House.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's
They're in the House. He's in the House. Yeah.
But Massey's right. I mean, the thought process is exactly the same. You're exactly right, Ken, that they would be thinking along the same lines. Rand Paul would not vote for it because Rand Paul would tell you that it did not do enough, right? So we'll find the 7 names, and I'll deliver them. Several people are like, get me those names that Ken Weaver's talking about. I'll get them. Y'all don't worry about it. All right, thank you, Ken. That's good stuff. And I did have it backwards, by the way. I knew that I would. I took one shot at it, and I had it back. It's the south side that gets sun. The north side does not. South facing melts first. North facing melts last. So if you're south facing, congratulations, you've melted. If you're north facing, you got to give it a couple of days.
Yeah, that's my back patio. It's north facing, and it's still under ice.
Well, I'm just glad that we're not adding to it. I mean, that's the big thing,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
Let us dry out just a little bit, and this is the least of our problems. Trust me, I'm not moaning and complaining about it. But let's just hope Matt gets internet this weekend because they're scheduled to come out Saturday at noon. That's nice, isn't it?
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. They're coming out. My line look, I'm not complaining. We talk about that weatherhead and and I think I got it right finally that the power company considers the power pole's theirs, obviously, the right of way there, and the power line is theirs, and your responsibility starts when the power line connects to the weatherhead. But along with that power line, I had the internet line. It would be the cable line, but I don't have traditional cable. I just have internet through Spectrum. I'm not knocking Spectrum; they seem fine, and that was my opportunity when I moved to MP, Spectrum or Starlink. So with Spectrum, a tree went across those lines. The power line withstood it and just kind of stayed up. The Spectrum line went down. So they cut my Spectrum line from the road because it was dripping across the road. So they cut my internet. They being, I assume, the city. They were just trying to get the road passable. So now I've got to get a technician out to reattach that line. Hopefully that won't be a problem over the weekend. But I'm just hopeful that we didn't bend the weatherhead just a little bit. And I'm going to need an arborist before all is said and done because I got some trees that I noticed. I was just blessed that they did not come down on my house, and they were drooping, boy. You know, you look out and you see all the ice on the limbs, and the limbs are literally like, they're just like. If I could do this, I'm going to do this in the audio format. This is the sound of the trees on my house. I just wanting to bust through that thing, but they didn't. So that's I feel blessed in that regard. All right, your call, 615-737-9986. Try to get them in the order that they came in. Justin is next. Justin, thank you for your call, and thank you for your patience.
Yeah, no problem, Matt. Hey, I'm the one who called yesterday, and you and your listeners reminded me or informed me that I probably should have put my New York strips and ribeyes out in the weather. So
Justin, that's the last.
I wanted to make you, since everyone's been attacking you lately, I held for an hour to put a smile on your face because I went and bought some more and tried exactly what you guys told me to do. And some kind of animal came and ate it last night.
That was my big concern is if you don't have it in some sort of cooler, Justin, is.
And so then I went to go get it to my barber here in Old Hickory, and they're like, yeah, dude, anyone who lives in Old Hickory knows that you're not supposed to put your food outside because there's deer and animal and stuff like that. So I just wanted to give you an update. So I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't.
It did make me laugh. Justin, I felt like you had already lost all this delicious meat, and I felt like we kind of piled on a little bit on you after your call yesterday.
It's all good, man. That's why I felt bad.
I'll tell you what. When
the raw end of it today. So.
When all is said and done, I have an incredible gift card to Jimmy Kelly's that I might share with you later on this year. How about that? I don't know.
I appreciate it, man.
I don't know if you're familiar with Jimmy Kelly's, but it's some of the most delicious meat you'll ever put in your mouth there, Justin. So thank you for the call. And I can't remember who gave me that gift card, but it's a very kind soul. I've not used it yet. Who did that? Can't put my finger on it.
Weaver.
It was probably Weaver, now that I think about it. Let's go to Stephen. Stephen, God bless you. Thank you for your patience. The floor is yours, sir.
All right. Thanks. Yeah. So I'm in West Nashville, been out of power since Sunday afternoon. I had some questions kind of for NES leadership. What were they doing Sunday morning? Because if you saw what was going on Sunday, you knew that this was a major, major event. Why is it almost a week and they don't even have a plan in place yet? It points to a severe lack of experience or leadership at NES. And the press conferences are BS to me. I mean, they were saying the other day, they didn't have any updates. It just points to a lack of experience at the highest levels to me. And then I have a friend who's a lineman up in Boston. He's union, and he says this happens often when certain major cities refuse to pay union rates, and then it all comes down on them. And to that point, I say union rates versus death. How are you going to value that? You know?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen those reports, and
being evacuated, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, we saw those reports, and they were asked, the NES officials, Brent Baker and this CEO, were asked about it earlier today, and they didn't really have any answers. They avoided the question about whether or not they specifically turned it down, these individuals that were ready to go. It seems unconscionable to me that they would have done so based on rates. I don't understand what the dynamics are, union versus non-union shop, but it would seem to me any port in a storm is better than no port at all. And if you have an opportunity to get more linemen on the scene, on the ground, I would think that you would take that by any means necessary, and money should not be an issue during that time of emergency. We will worry about money later. We need to get people on the ground to assist. Yeah.
If there's a problem, there's a solution. It's usually going to involve money. You know, and so it seems to be that NES or some people at NES didn't want to make that call and didn't want to do that. And, you know, how do you weigh that versus the amount of deaths that continue, due to this situation? I mean, I hope it leads to some resignations or firing. I worked in insurance for 10 years. You have what's called a catastrophe response team, or you plan for things. And it appears that NES has had zero of that, or a severe, lack of that. It's ridiculous that a city like Nashville, to me, has had such bad leadership on that level. But yeah, I mean, I've been, taking friends to hotels, got neighbors who don't have power, taking them hot water. It's absurd that it's lasted this long. It's a really bad look for Nashville,
Well, I mean, I'm thankful that we take care of our own. I mean, obviously in the South, we know how to do that, and a lot of folks are doing that. And one of the things that I've done, and thank you for the call, Stephen, is we're using this radio station as a conduit so that those that are in need can find helpers. The helpers are out there. Those that are in need are out there, but they can't find one another. They're in the dark. And so if you are in need, hit me up. If you have an ability to help, hit me up, and we'll do the best that we can to do anything that we can do. I'm being told that the Tennessee AFL-CIO president, Billy Dices, has offered a statement saying restoring power for Nashville residents is a top priority as our city continues to recover from the winter storm. Claims circulating on social media that IBEW union line crews were turned away from restoration efforts are false. IBEW line workers are actively working alongside Nashville Electric Service with additional crews en route to support ongoing restoration efforts. City leaders, NES, and organized labor are working together to safely restore power as quickly as possible. Those highly trained union line workers are working around the clock in dangerous conditions to get the light backs on. Blah, 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 blah. That is from the Tennessee AFL-CIO president, Billy Dices, and that's coming from 1834, who said that my show is an embarrassment to the city of Nashville and that I'm a hack. Said that yesterday at 6 o'clock, but hey, how about that? You're still listening today. Isn't that nice? Glad you enjoy the hacks as much as you do. So this does not change the fact that there were whistleblowers that suggested that they were turned away, asked about it today. Look, I don't know, and we said yesterday, I don't know who was turned away because they were anonymous. And that information, I'll relate it to you, and for what it's worth. I don't know if that's true or not either. I don't trust union bosses as far as I can throw them. But I will say this, 200 workers were not enough. 300 workers were not enough. 500 workers is not enough. And if they turned anyone away, we'll find out. Now, there are email, and I do know this too, so I relate that to you, 1834, from you to the listening audience. You say that the unions claim that they're doing everything that they can. Well, according to Fox 17 News, during a press conference, Brent Baker was asked about the allegations that they turned away other contractors or IBEW crews. Jessica Stewart, a spokesperson for the Service Employees International Union, Local 205, addressed the claims, saying that they were untrue. The claim that union workers are being prevented from responding to the storm is false. The statement's claim is dozens of union linemen alleged that NES denied their assistance in restoring power across the midstate. Yesterday, 2 days ago, Fox News 17 reporter Kelly Evelino, I might be mispronouncing that name, Evelino, spoke with two members of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers who asked to remain anonymous, who said that they got the same answer, that NES is full and doesn't need help. Yesterday, Fox News 17 spoke with a third union contractor who requested anonymity, saying he feared reprisal. He said, yes, they said, yes, we need your help, and then they came back and said no. When asked about the SEIU's statement denying the allegations, the contractor responded, I will show you the emails. I have proof what they did. Fox News 17 then reviewed those emails, which show the contractor reached out to NES Monday and received a response Wednesday from an NES employee stating in part, quote, at this time, we're covered. We do not require additional assistance. It goes on to say, we'll be sure to keep that company in mind should any needs arise. Baker later clarified that NES works with established utility partners first, saying to bring them quickly because they can land in our system and safely respond. So there you have. They reviewed the emails. 1834, our texter who texted in the union messaging says, well, you can't trust Sinclair. Okay, well, so you trust your anonymous sources more than Fox 17 trusts their anonymous sources. All I know is this, whether it was because they were a union shop or not, whether it was because they felt they had it handled or not, there were inadequate numbers of linemen in place Monday. Can we agree on that, 1834? Or am I still a hack? It's 24 after the hour on Super Talk. All of this ice is melting, and it's slow but surely we'll get back to a little bit of normal. But what if normal means that you have water coming into your home? What if you have a waterproofing issue? Let me tell you this. Water will find a way if you let it. You've got to constantly be vigilant to prevent the water from getting inside of your home, because once that happens, foundation repair issues become present. Let's stop all of this by a call to USS, United Structural Systems. United Structural Systems are trusted by homeowners and have been since 1994. They've been keeping homes stable and dry since that time. It's what they do. They do concrete leveling repair, they do foundation repair, and they do waterproofing repair. That's what they do. And they've helped over 30,000 satisfied customers and growing at USS, United Structural Systems. They understand that your home is your refuge, it's your respite, and you need to trust that your foundation is rock solid. Trust that by calling USS, United Structural Systems, USSTN.com or 615-488-7855, 488-7855. Hey, friends, Matt Murphy for King and Associates Insurance. I just paid my auto insurance bill for the year, and I was so happy to do it. I went ahead and paid annually because I got an additional discount in doing so. I think I told you the story yesterday. When it came time for my homeowner's insurance, I was going to go with no one other than King and Associates Insurance. I've been telling you about them. They're great at what they do. They're independent. They work for you, not the big insurance companies. We had been a long-time partner with another insurance company with our auto rates, and Emery said, Murph, you got to let me get that auto on board too, because when I do, I can save you some money. And they did save me some money, almost $300 annually on auto insurance rates with my car and the car for my wife. And that's big savings. And we appreciate those savings. You can save too. 329-8121, 329-8121 or tkinginsurance.com. Independent, working for you, not the big insurance companies. It's King and Associates Insurance, protecting what matters most.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Got more bad news for Nashvillians without power to heat their homes. Many, NES says, will not be restored through the weekend and into the first part of next week. Meanwhile, Channel 4's Stacey Cameron was pressing NES Vice President of Operations Brent Baker on staffing issues, slowing down the restoration of power at the briefing today.
So is the bottleneck right now the slowing down of restoration rates due to not being able to get enough linemen into the field because you don't have enough people familiar with the system?
So we have to have people that can work on the system and have that hazardous energy control to be able to bring more people on. And scaling that up is really important for us. We have to do that well. Getting those,
but not having enough people to have knowledge of the system to get them online safely, was that a failure on your part?
I'm telling you right now, getting those people to be able to bring people on safely is just the most important part of what we do, and be able to bring them on, watch over those people well.
So no clear answer there. NES does say by tonight they will have nearly 1,100 linemen working on restoration. Meanwhile, a fourth winter storm-related death now confirmed in Nashville. Authorities say a 92-year-old man was found inside his home on Blank Street, where he had been using an extension cord to power a small heater from a generator that wasn't functioning. The temperature inside the home, 47 degrees when he was discovered. Right now in our nation's capital, President Trump and Senate Democrats have reached a deal to head off a long government shutdown. The agreement advances 5 full-year spending bills and gives the Department of Homeland Security a 2-week extension. Lawmakers will use that time to negotiate changes to Department of Homeland Security and ICE operations after 2 people were shot in Minneapolis and killed, and that has intensified scrutiny. A brief weekend lapse in funding is still expected, but major disruptions are unlikely. Officials in Fulton County, Georgia, promising to take their fight to court after the FBI seized 2020 election records yesterday from the county's election hub. Here's ABC's Olivia Rubin.
They described it as 700 boxes of documents that were taken, but that they were not allowed to make copies. And they have sort of described since yesterday that they have no real full accounting of the documents that were taken. And so they are raising significant concern about what happens to the documents now, where they go. And specifically, they made a point about personal voter information. They don't know if that's been compromised as well.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Whites Creek got a disabled vehicle blocking the left lane, 24 westbound near Old Hickory Boulevard North. In Bellevue, 40 westbound is closed between US 70 South and exit 192. That's because of a crash. Road work blocking the right lane, Briley Parkway southbound between 24 North and Brick Church Pike. Antioch, an injury wreck, Murfreesboro Pike at Pinhook Road. I'm Ken Weaver.
Hello, friends. Matt Murphy here for Volunteer Outfitters. Back open and running again on New Shackle Island Road. And friends, Volunteer Outfitters in Hendersonville, they've got the boots and the cold weather gear that you need. Right now, Extra Tough boots, Muck, Durango, they're 15% off every single day. I mean, that's just their policy. You can grab winter apparel from top brands like Drake, Huck, Southern Marsh, and much, much more. I mean, that cold weather gear is up there at Volunteer Outfitters. Obviously, they've got the team gear that you need for the ongoing basketball season and beyond. They've got gear for the lake and all of that. But right now, we're thinking about winter hunting season. We're thinking about winter sports season, and if it's cold outside, we know that. You need some boots from Volunteer Outfitters in Hendersonville. Go see Tommy and the team at Volunteer Outfitters. Tell them I said hello. They're just off New Shackle Island Road. You get off Vietnam Veterans Parkway, take a left on New Shackle Island Road. You see them down on the left. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Volunteer Outfitters. All right, I now have the list of... the 7 individuals in the Senate that voted against the funding mechanism. Also, I just want to reiterate, the linemen that are on the ground, the linemen that are doing the job, whether they're vegetation crews, whether they're line crews, whatever they are, God bless you. And I want to say it again. We appreciate you. We love on you. We want to help you. We want to feed you. As a matter of fact, the Redheaded Stranger has alerted me that they're being fed by a wonderful organization. I'll tell you more about that in a moment. But thank you for the work that you do. Thank you for the work that you're doing. If you happen to be listening to me, maybe you're on a break or maybe you're listening, and I don't know, just thank you. Our issue, our beef is not with you, and we appreciate you. There's just not enough of you. There's not enough of you. And that leads us to the incompetence of the people that are making management decisions within the system. All of the excuses in the world cannot excuse this away, that there is just rampant incompetence on the upper echelons, and there has to be comeuppance. There has to be people that are answering to this. And at some point there will be. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but there will be. And I'm fearful that we have not seen the last of the loss of life. Eventually, people are going to get to homes where welfare checks will happen. And I'm fearful of what happens after that. All right, in the meantime, let's see. The 7 Republicans. So there was a funding mechanism bill that happened, and 7 Republicans voted with the Democrats to not fund the government until the fall. These 7 were as follows. Senator Rand Paul, Kentucky. Senator Ted Budd, North Carolina. Senator Ron Johnson, Wisconsin. Senator Mike Lee, Utah. Senator Ashley Moody, Florida. Senator Rick Scott, Florida. Senator Tommy Tuberville, Alabama. I was a little surprised to see several of the names on there. And some of them are saying that they did so. Well, Tuberville, for example, let me get back to his page. Tuberville said, I voted no on today's procedural vote to fund parts of the government because it would have set the stage to give Democrats their woke wish list of so-called ICE reforms. Democrats have been demanding that Republicans make major concessions when it comes to how our ICE officers do their jobs. Republicans control the White House, Senate, and House. Why are we giving an inch to Democrats? Now, more than ever, we need to let our police officers know we have their backs, not burden them with some new protocols that could slow their progress on deporting criminals. I don't know what he's talking about, and I'll do my research. I've been focused on this local and statewide story regarding the storm, so I don't know what procedural protocol he is suggesting. Rand Paul always does this. Mike Lee does it from time to time. Coach Tubbs typically doesn't pull this, but we'll figure it out, and we'll report it to you when we do. In the meantime, James, you are next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good afternoon, James.
Hey, thank you, Matt Murphy. Love
Yes, sir.
what you're doing, man.
Thank you.
So I'm a local arborist, and I sat for an hour and a half almost watching a incompetent tree crew that, is a subcontracted tree crew from NES do what should have taken 15 or 20 minutes while the supervisor down below spoke in Spanish to the guy in the bucket who didn't seem like they're either milking the clock or they're doing their 15-foot cut rule while they're doing these trim a limb off of a tree that's dangling, or just plain incompetence. And then I started thinking, after listening to the show for the past hour and listening to John, that it'd be worth checking out to see if NES has cut the number of crews that they typically use over the couple of years or something, and maybe there's not enough competent tree crews that they have doing the work for them. I don't know, but I know there's plenty out there, but what I saw today was ridiculous.
So when you said the 15-foot cut rule, what does that mean?
So NES has and TVA, limbs have to be 15 feet from a power line, and that's why they come in and trim them. And that's kind of their rule, is if a limb is closer than 15 feet to your power line, then it gets trimmed back. And that's supposed to make it safer to not fall on a power line.
Mm. What?
And these companies, they get paid based on, I'm sure, job invoices, and then on top of it, there's 5 guys on the crew, the one in the bucket truck and outside the supervisor, there's a whole street of stuff down, 6 poles, and then plenty of trees on top of that, and they're just standing there watching the guy do the work when they could be down the street moving trees to get NES in there faster. And I think that's one of the big issues is there's not enough tree crews, and I feel like from what I saw today, they're either milking it or trying to do a lot more, because he spent a lot of time across the street from the power line cutting limbs that reached that 15-foot rule when he had one dangler over the main power lines to move up.
I mean, do you
another
believe
20 feet and get another one?
Just pulling this back to 50,000 feet as an arborist,
or 15? Yeah, sorry.
No. I'm pulling it back to 50,000 feet. I just want to look at it from a broader perspective. As an arborist, is it just that Metro refuses to cut the trees back is why they're having so many problems now that we've had ice storms? Or do you know?
I don't know the answer to that, but I feel like it probably has to do more with less tree crews going out doing trimming, less cost, until you reach something like this. And then you don't have enough crews that you are on contracts to handle the mess that will get the linemen in to do their work.
Well, look, I'm not immune from the reality. And James, great call. Thank you for it. I got to get to nincompoops real quick, and we'll get back to telephone calls. But, I mean, I'm not immune to the reality that when tree trimming crews come into communities, people hate them. They hate it because it makes the trees look ugly. I mean, forget the ice storms for just a moment. I mean, that is true. And we have to understand that every neighborhood I've ever been in, when the tree trimming crews come into the neighborhood and they cut the trees, people moan about it and complain about it and then get angry about it. But they do it, and there you go. Now, flash forward to today when you have this new CEO come in 2022, and she says, we care about the canopy. We have to live here. We do not want to destroy the canopy. Well, have those chickens, as they say, come home to roost? Where enough, I don't want to say tree huggers. I don't want to be that harsh, but yeah, tree huggers, they care about the trees more than they care about the power or the eventuality that we'll have an ice storm like this. And now we see the fruit of that lack of cutting, or the lack of benefit of cutting it down when the time came. Whether that's because of a tree hugger attitude or a canopy attitude, or it's an effort to save money, I don't know. But it's time to find out. 45 after the hour, it's time for Nincompoops in the News as well on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Nincompoops in the News.
That's right. Ken Weaver, Jackson Williams, and Matt Murphy belly up to the microphone, and we offer you some stories that will lighten the mood and lighten the load to a certain degree. We call it Nincompoops in the News. We scour the local community, the entire state, nay, the United States and the entire world. And we bring you home those nincompoops where they live and where they breathe. Now, I'm noting here that we have a tie ball game right now, gentlemen. We got one for Murphy, one for Ken Weaver, and one for Jackson Williams. Jackson won yesterday's contest, which means that he controls the dice during today's event. Hello, Jackson.
Hello.
How's it going in there?
Busy.
It's been a weird show.
A lot of buzzing back here.
Yeah, you got some sort of radiant buzz going on that in that studio that I think is probably affecting your mental state.
Yes. That and the sound of the phone ringing.
It's not a murder hornet, is it?
No, it kind of sounds like it, though, Ken. Have you been in that control room?
No, not today.
Let me see if I can replicate it. It's like this, is it?
I would not like that.
It's driving me insane.
That has happened before.
Wait, it stopped.
That has happened before, but I can't remember what it was.
It's the subwoofer up here.
I think it's the speaker up there on the roof. And then there's a lot of people that are calling in on the phone lines, and Jackson just loves that. Just a reminder, if you call in, just give him your name, where you're calling from, what you want to talk about, and that's all he needs to know. Jackson has a lot going on, and he's a nice enough fella that he's not going to tell you that.
He's a real nice fella.
I'm going to tell you that. Ken, he's not going to be nice with this nincompoop story. I have a feeling. Who's going first, Jackson?
I'm going first.
Why are you going first, Jackson?
Because I got a good one, and I'm afraid y'all are going to steal it.
Okay.
Son of a biscuit eater.
Oh, here we go.
Man charged with indecent exposure after filming himself using pleasure device in Giles County store.
Is that Giles County, Tennessee?
Yes, this is from WKRN.
Dang, he got a
son of a biscuit eater.
He got a pleasure device, and it's a stage story. That's a twofer.
In Giles County?
In Giles County, a man is accused of recording himself doing lewd acts in a store in the middle of the day. And it's not his first brush with the law for sexual videos taken in public places.
Goodness.
Investigators told News 2 the same man, 42-year-old James Childress, was arrested in 2023 for recording himself doing disturbing things while inside schools and churches. Childress, who once served time for aggravated assault, allegedly took inappropriate videos using a pleasure device in the middle of the store. In a photo
Good pivot. I heard that. Good pivot.
In a photo obtained from the Pulaski Police Department, he was wearing a miniskirt, crop top, go-go boots, and a blonde wig.
Goodness.
He was arrested last Thursday. Giles County Sheriff Joe Purvis confirmed to News 2 that Childress did not comply with the officer's commands during the execution of that warrant, and he was subsequently charged with resisting arrest in addition to the Pulaski Police lewd conduct charges. Lieutenant Joey Turner of the Pulaski Police Department told News 2, we were immediately concerned for this behavior, especially with it being a public place. We will do everything we can to protect our citizens and children from this type of behavior. Investigators also said in 2023, videos uploaded to social media sites showed Childress shooting basketballs in the gym at Richland High School. Deputies said he was wearing a miniskirt as he went from room to room inside the school.
Goodness.
There was also a video that showed him on top of a long table in the library, strutting back and forth like it was a catwalk.
I don't.
At one point, deputies said he stopped to take a lewd photo.
Oh, wow.
Goodness.
On another occasion, authorities said he gained access to a Giles County church. One video showed Childress kneeling before an altar doing lewd things.
Take a picture of that.
After his arrest for the 2023 charges, former Giles County Sheriff Kyle Helton told News 2 he was doing some very bizarre things that were very concerning.
Somebody said on the super text line that I bet that it was modeled after a goat. I don't even know what that means.
Following his 2023 arrest, Childress was charged with low-level misdemeanors, vandalism, and trespassing. News 2 contacted Brent Cooper, the district attorney, and who told them that this arrest signals two things. Mr. Childress learned nothing from his last experience with the court system, and his behavior is escalating. Because of this, we intend to seek the maximum punishment under the law for this case. His bond was set at $4,000.
What's this fella's name?
Why are you looking out for him, Ken?
I'm gonna be on the lookout. We got listeners down there in Giles County. We got to help them out down there. Avoid this fella.
Might be a P1 of the Matt Murphy show. You never know.
James Childress.
James. What are you doing down there, James? Come on,
Goodness.
James. Get with it. Don't take the pictures, James. What are you doing?
Did authorities say there were signs of intoxication?
Nope. He's just creepy.
I'm going to assume, until demonstrated otherwise, that there was intoxicants involved. We're going to assume that.
You know what? This sounds like there were no. This sounds like this fella just he just digs what he's doing.
Oh, well. Okay.
We don't shame here.
Were there students in the school?
Yes, we do.
I wonder when he got into that school shooting hoops and prancing around on a table if kids were in class.
No. For some reason,
going by the fifth period, and old man Childress is in his dress again.
He's got his blow up goat doll.
Goodness.
Jackson, who do you want to go next?
I want Ken to go next.
Okay.
All right, boys, this happened today. A Minnesota man arrested and charged with impersonating an FBI agent after he tried to enter a federal jail and release suspected murderer Luigi Mangione. 36-year-old Mark Anderson arrived at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, New York, last night, claiming he was an FBI agent with a court order for Mangione's release. When officials with the Bureau of Prisons asked the man for his credentials, according to the complaint, the man provided a Minnesota driver's license. He also allegedly stated that he had weapons in his bag. Anderson then allegedly threw paperwork at the Bureau of Prisons officers. The papers appeared to be related to legal claims against the Justice Department.
Here, take these.
What do you think about that?
Huh?
Prison officials searched Anderson's backpack. According to the complaint, found a barbecue-style fork and a circular steel blade.
The pizza cutter?
Well, I'll get to that. Mark...
What?
Mark Anderson was detained by members of the Federal Bureau of Prisons, and a backpack he possessed was searched to reveal the large barbecue-type fork and round steel blade. He had traveled to New York for a potential job that didn't work out, so he decided to go to work at a pizzeria before his arrest.
It's a pizza. I knew it.
It's a pizza cutter.
A circular steel blade is a pizza cutter, right?
Yeah, claiming to be a member of the FBI. It isn't clear what connection, if any, he has to Mangione.
Don't make me cut your breadsticks. I'll do it.
Good grief, man.
I'll cut your pepperoni. That's good. That's good. I need a little background music for mine.
Uh-oh.
Hold on. Here we go. Let me see. You got me some sound over there? You got me some? Here we go. For Matt Murphy's Nincompoops in the News story, we turn our attention to the nation of France.
Macron!
I guess this is just the prelude. I should have gotten to the part of the French national anthem that we all know. I suppose they're going to get to it. Oh, here we go. France is about to enshrine in law the end of the so-called conjugal rights law. The idea that marriage comes with a duty to have sex. The stupid French. I mean, they can't do anything right, and when they've done things right, they strive to do them wrong. The bill, which was approved Wednesday by the National Assembly, adds a clause to the country's civil code to make clear that community of living does not create an obligation for sexual relations. The proposed law also makes it impossible to use a lack of sexual relations as an argument for a divorce. Although unlikely to have impact in the courts, supporters hope the law will help prevent marital, rape. Marriage can be a bubble in which consent to sex is regarded as definitive and for life. The law will remove the ambiguity that has continued despite there being no explicit mention of conjugal duty in the legal text. However, most believe that up until this law passes, that if you are in marriage in France, that you have a duty to perform. And they are removing said duty. And for that, I believe the entire nation of France, they're a bunch of nincompoops.
Macron!
They're also cheese-eating surrender monkeys. Thank you.
Did you see that French president wearing Joe Biden glasses the other day?
No. Macron?
Yeah, he was wearing Joe Biden glasses at that thing last week where Trump was scaring him about taking Greenland. And he was out there on his speech. He's wearing Joe Biden aviator glasses.
Good for him. Did he have his buddy with him?
I didn't see that.
His husband? I mean, wife?
I didn't see that.
That's not, I don't know if that's true.
Macron!
The French, they're you can vote Jackson, you can vote Murphy, you can vote Ken Weaver, you can vote for any one of those three. Just vote early, vote often. It's Nincompoops in the News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Pizza cutter! I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Many Nashvillians without power to heat their homes are going to stay that way through the weekend and into the first part of next week, according to NES. Officials say they have found more than 400 broken poles and continue to find more. They say they've been able to repair 107 of those poles. They expect to have nearly 1,100 line crews working tonight, along with more than 200 vegetation clearing crews. Add to that 450 NDOT, TDOT, and National Guard members helping to clear the way for line crews to get to the hard-to-reach areas. They say they're 80% of total system assessment, but officials say they cannot give key information to customers like when they think the power will be fully restored until they have fully assessed the situation. Meanwhile, there are still 2,486 Cumberland Electric customers without power, mainly in Sumner County. And a fourth winter storm-related death has now been confirmed in Nashville. Authorities say a 92-year-old man found inside his home on Blank Street where he had been using an extension cord to power a small heater from a generator that wasn't functioning. The temperature inside the home, 47 degrees when he was discovered. In our nation's capital, President Trump and Senate Democrats have reached a deal to head off a long government shutdown. The agreement advances 5 full-year spending bills, gives the Department of Homeland Security a 2-week extension. Lawmakers to use that time to negotiate changes to Department of Homeland Security and ICE operations after the 2 killings there in Minneapolis. A brief weekend lapse in funding is still expected, but major disruptions are unlikely. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, drivers in Glencliff, we've got a stuck truck on the right shoulder, 24 eastbound between Briley Parkway, exit 54, Harding Place, exit 56. In Clarksville, a couple of disabled trucks blocking the right lane, 24 westbound near Rossview Road. In Franklin, a crash, 2 vehicles involved, 65 southbound, just past I-840. In Sumner County, Millersville got a stalled vehicle on the left shoulder, 65 northbound near Louisville Highway, exit 98. And on Laverne, a crash. It's on Old Hickory Boulevard, just north of I-24. And here at the Eastern Split, a disabled vehicle on the shoulder. That's going to be 40 eastbound. And the Blackman area of Rutherford County, a crash, 840 westbound near I-24. I'm Ken Weaver.
All right, back to your telephone calls momentarily. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Happy to have you with us. 8 minutes after 6 o'clock. Good evening. Welcome into this Thursday edition. If you're just joining us, we appreciate your time. If you've been here for a minute or two, you know that we've spent most of our day discussing the aftermath of the storm, the lack of response by the Nashville Electric Service, and some of the other local officials that don't seem to be that concerned with the fact that 90,000 people, 90,000 not people, 90,000 customers, that could be multiple people within a home, they remain without power. And this is about as warm as it's going to get for the foreseeable future. The temperatures are going down tomorrow. They're going down Saturday and Sunday. The temperatures will be bitterly cold. And while we do not see any other frozen precipitation in the forecast, there's plenty still on the ground, and there are plenty of people without power. And I'm as concerned as can be about it, and it doesn't seem like the powers that be are that concerned. To the point, Mayor Freddie O'Connell, who appeared on this show earlier in the week and offered up warming stations and offered up advice, and I'm glad that he came on. I mean, look, as much as I disagree with him on a lot of his policies that, frankly, I think exacerbated the situation that we're currently in, if we're spending less money on buses that nobody's going to ride and bus routes that no one's going to take, and more money on arborists to mitigate the tree situation in Metro Nashville, then maybe some of this would not have happened. Just a thought. But then this occurred to me. I'm on the X machine a lot, right? And I understand that many of you are not, but many of you are. And if you're on the Twitter machine, then you know what I'm talking about. It's a cesspool. I get it. I understand that people are mean there. And if you say hello, good morning, somebody's going to slam you within the next 20 minutes or whatever. And it's just a part of being on there. But there are a lot of people that rely on Twitter for news and information. A lot of people rely on it for breaking news. I know I do. And it's a great resource for breaking news, depending on who you follow. And I was a little flummoxed, flabbergasted, if you will, that Freddie O'Connell had not offered updates. You know how petty this is? Freddie O'Connell has almost 23,000 followers on the X machine, and he does not comment on the X machine. He has 7,000 followers on Blue Sky, and he's all over Blue Sky. Doesn't that, Jackson, am I wrong? Does that not come off as a little petty? You know you have more followers on Twitter. You're just doing it because it's Elon Musk's platform.
It's less efficient.
It just seems petty. Because you go over to Blue Sky and, a few important announcements today. First, we want to make sure your needs are met. Call 211 or text your zip code to reach United Way's helpline. 2 hours ago, we're working with United Way of Greater Nashville. 3 hours ago, he's talking about making progress. 20 hours ago, we're making progress, expanding capacity, blah, 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 blah. Nothing on the X machine where 23,000 people wonder what the hell the mayor of Nashville's doing, and there you go. In the meantime, every time officials with the Nashville Electric Service speak, I'm less confident that they give a rip about you and your outages. Although Teresa Broyles Applin does very much care about the canopy. And you do need to know about that. 615-737-9986. Let's see who. I believe it is Clint. Hello, Clint. Good evening. Thank you for your patience, Clint.
No problem. Well, I got something weird. Check this out. I live in South Nashville, the Glencliff area, on Mimosa Drive. We're at the end of Mimosa Drive, the 2-block stretch, no power, none for 5 days. But there's power all around us, but our 2-block area only. And I'm blind, and this is really scary.
Oh, no, Clint. Yeah. So you are without power within a 2-block radius or area, and everybody else has it?
Everybody else has power except for our dead-end 2-block stretch.
Any indication why?
Well, some neighbors think there's a tree down at the head of the dead end, but I guess they won't remove it because it's on private property. But how does it affect the street lines?
Man, that doesn't sound right at all.
And that's like they ignored us.
Have you spoken to any of your neighbors?
Well, one, that's about it.
Yeah, and I would think that they're equally concerned. Have you reported this? Are you certain that everyone's aware that you are without power?
Yes, we've contacted NES every day.
And what are they saying to you?
We're working on it.
I don't mean to laugh, Clint. It's bad,
no.
but I mean, thanks.
But thank you.
All right, you know what I mean. I mean, that's the feeling that you get is you call NES and you want a little assurance. Hey, is any time for? We're working on it. It's like, good Lord.
Yeah. And we got a substation at the end of our dead end, and they haven't come to check it out yet.
So their excuse is that there's a tree down on private property that's preventing them from getting you back up and running.
Yeah, but our house is connected to the street. Fine, no problem. But the street for 2 blocks is off, just 2 blocks.
It's maddening. Are you safe otherwise? Are you warm?
We've got a wood-burning stove, so we're warm, and we've got running water, but that's it.
Man. How about food? Yeah. You doing all right there?
Yeah, we're okay. We got enough.
Well, dude, in all seriousness, Clint, let me know if there's anything we can do for you.
I will.
Well, I hope they. I mean, I wish I could blink my eyes or snap my fingers and get the electricity back on, but I cannot. And it's my understanding that the power company is loath to go on private property and do anything with trees on private property unless and until they either have permission from the private property owner or the private property owner does it themselves. And so, there you go. I watched them take a freaking tree's temperature to see if it was still living. What? Are you kidding? One of my super texters just claimed that they took the temperature of a tree. When was that? That doesn't seem right. 7024 offers a little bit of good news, saying hundreds of line trucks are staging across Franklin Road Academy. Hopefully, Green Hills is going to get some power back. Well, I hope that a lot of communities get power back sooner rather than later. It's beyond a time. A series of unfortunate events and incompetence at the highest levels of management at NES have led to this. The people on the ground doing the work, thank you. God bless you. This is not about you. It is most certainly about the leadership at the Nashville Electric Service. And I do not believe there's it's too soon, Matt. We need to figure out exactly what's going on before we start leveling these types of charges. I don't understand what's too soon about any of this. The only area that has major widespread issues now is the area covered by Nashville Electric Service. So what's the difference? Well, you can say, it's a metropolitan area and that's different. Okay. That would indicate to me that maybe there are less trees. There are more people, but there are more people serving those people. And if you scale it, then every other electricity company in our area, every other electricity company in the metro area and around Middle Tennessee, they've done a superior job. And you have to lay this at the feet of leadership. And whether it's NES or Mayor Freddie O'Connell or whatever it might be, I mean, I would say that Mayor Freddie O'Connell has focused so much on mass transit that maybe he's lost sight of the idea that all of these trees, when they get ice on them, will cause major disruptions in your city. And, oh, by the way, I mean, I feel like it's a small thing, but Demonbreun is just what a great example of what the city is doing or not doing. Like, you drive that Demonbreun, right?
Yeah, covered in trees.
I mean, there's trees all over the road.
Yeah.
And people are just driving by them, and it doesn't feel like there's any movement whatsoever to try to get them removed.
Looks the same as it did Monday.
Exactly the same as it did Monday, except maybe a little less ice on them. Todd is next. Todd, thank you for the call. How are you?
Hey, man. How you doing?
I'm good.
Good. Yeah, I worked at Metro Water Engineering back in the late 80s to the late 90s, and you're spot on. It's the board of Nashville Electric. A lot of people think NES is a Metro part of Metro government. It is not. And those board members and that CEO make stupid money. And it's ridiculous. They just don't care. And I can guarantee you their electricity either didn't go off, or they have generators, or they were the first ones fixed. And then back to I hate to keep going back.
Oh, by the way, I don't know how much they're paid. I don't know all about that, but let's go ahead and
I don't know what it is now. It was stupid money back then.
Well, I'll name them by name. Casey Santos is the vice chair of the board. The board chair is Delta Ann Davis. She's senior program advisor, energy, environment, and land use at Vanderbilt Law School. Casey Santos, the vice chair, is the CTO of Caliber Collision. Ian, what is that? Purity is a board member. He's an account executive at a company called Snowflake. I'm not making that up. Robert McCabe. Hold on, I'm two more. Robert McCabe is a board. No, that's okay. Robert McCabe is a board member. He's a chief banking officer of Pinnacle Financial. And Clifton Harris is a board member, president and CEO of the Urban League of Middle Tennessee. Yep. There you go.
These are people that know people and get these cushy board jobs. You get paid all this money. They rarely meet. They don't take care of anything. And all this talk at these press conferences, it's all BS. I used to work there, and I used to hear it, and that's one reason I left and started my own business, because I got sick of hearing it. Metro Water was the same way. It's like they built something, and it didn't work, and they try to charge the property owners and do everything they could. I mean, put it off for years on the property owner while their stuff's getting destroyed and neighbors are getting destroyed. Now, we're in an emergency situation. Go up. I guarantee you anybody that's got this going on that's been out of power would sign a release. Come cut it off. Just because they made a mistake. What happens is these people come in, and it's not the people that are doing the cutting when they come in to cut your trees, but they cut down over, like these big notches in the tree on one side. So the next storm, you get the entire tree blows down in your yard. That's why, and it's ugly, and nobody wants to have that.
Well, and I've never understood that, because you're exactly right. And look, I'm not an arborist. I've run a chainsaw a time or two in my life, but they cut off one side, and I've always thought that. I was like, well, the next time the wind blows really hard, I mean, all of the weight's on the one side of the tree, so you're just angling the tree to fall in the direction that away from where you just cut off the limbs.
Happens.
And that's exactly what happens. That's right.
Yeah. Well, it's all about money, and they did not prepare. That's all BS that she's saying, oh, this, that, and the other. No.
Well, I'm being told on good authority, Todd, by several people in this listening audience that wish to remain anonymous, that they know for a fact that NES executives cut millions of dollars from their tree cutting budget when this CEO took over, Teresa Broyles Applin, and she's publicly said, "Oh, we got to protect
Canopy Girl."
Right, Canopy Girl. That's what we're going to call her, Todd. Canopy Girl says, "Oh, we got to protect the canopy. The canopy's so important." Well, what was important apparently
can still stay there. Just if you trim them even all the way around, people let you do it.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's infuriating.
Anyway, It's ridiculous, and they're making excuses. They want to hang on to those cushy board jobs and CEO and all that stuff. It is their fault 100%. I mean, they called for ice. Well, they called for the snow. They were calling 6 to 12 inches of snow and then ice. They've never not called for the ice. So they knew it was coming.
They knew it was coming. They
did not have people ready, and then they lied about how many people they had. It's kept changing. And they turning people down that want to work. Well, it's got nothing to do with the union. I mean, some of it might, but it's ridiculous. There was plenty of people that would love to help, make some extra money, especially deforestation people that, have landscape businesses that need money in the winter. They would love to help. And they love to help people. It's just, it's sad. It really is. And like I said, that's one of the main reasons I left Metro, because it's not just NES, Metro Water, they all do it. They just try to protect.
And look, if I'm trying to be, and thank you, Todd, for the call. I'm trying to be as fair-minded as possible I don't know any of these people. I'm just I'm using the resources and the brain that God gave me to kind of analyze this in real time. When you have a CEO coming in 2022 and their first talk or their first thoughts are about sustainability, when I hear that word, I know what I'm dealing with. Oh, we need to at Nashville Electric Service, we need to focus on sustainability. What the heck does that mean? We need to concern ourselves with the canopy. Well, look if you live in a neighborhood, and y'all know who I'm talking about, and y'all actively campaigned against a tree cutting in your neighborhood, I'm talking to you, Belmead. I'm talking to you, Green Hills. Right? If you've got the clout in your neighborhoods and the money in your neighborhoods to prevent tree cutting or tree trimming, if that's what's going on, then that's on you. But in a lot of these neighborhoods, they didn't say boo about it. They just want the power to come on. Now, for example, we had a super texter write in and say the amount of trees down in our tiny area in Whites Creek is astronomical. I can't begin to imagine the amount of work the linemen have to do. I'm confused by the NES hate, but we haven't had cell or TV for a week. Super Talk is a lifeline. Thank you. Well, here's what I would say. I mean, there is a lot of anger, and I would say hate may be a fair word here, toward NES. It's not an indictment on the linemen on the job. The linemen on the job are doing the best they can. God bless them. And you're right, 3822, they are overworked. The point is they staged 200 linemen before this event. 200? That's not enough. That's not nearly enough. And if you want to say hindsight's 2020, that's fair, I suppose. But they are paid large amounts of money to make the right decisions when lives are at stake. People have died as a result of this storm. And therefore, I can extrapolate that if I'm laying blame at the feet of NES for not being prepared pre-storm, then that means they are indirectly responsible for these deaths. Does it not? Listen to this bio for a sec. Oh, well, I got to take a break before I do the bio. It's 25 after the hour. Ben and Cindy and Alan will get to you. It's the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN 625. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy, and let's talk for a moment about Genesis Diamonds. Great stewards in our community, great jewelry company. Genesis Diamonds want to talk to you. If you've got a big special anniversary coming up, maybe something special in 2026, and you want to celebrate the right way, Genesis Diamonds is the way to do it. After a record-breaking year in 2025, Genesis is fully stocked for 2026. They have a non-commissioned approach to helping you find the right diamond for you, the right jewelry for you. That makes you comfortable that they're not trying to oversell you, just that they're trying to be good stewards of your budget and good stewards of what you need to happen, whether it's anniversary or birthday or a just because gift for that memorable moment in 2026. Just know, get to Genesis Diamonds and they'll hook you up. GenesisDiamonds.com. That's GenesisDiamonds.com for our friends at Genesis Diamonds. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy, and I want to tell you about Cover Nash and Shane Ring. Shane Ring understands insurance in a way that I don't and probably never will, because I know Shane's number and I'm about to give it to you. Shane wants you to know that you don't have to worry about health insurance that feels like a mathematics exam. He will make it make sense for you. And he has programs available for you that can save you a tremendous amount of money. I understand that there's a lot of concern about premiums going up, a lot of concern about deductibles going up. And maybe you've become convinced with these people that tell you can't make any decisions this time of year. That's not true either. You most certainly can. You can get into a better situation. What you need is a personal concierge that can help you with all of this. Real health coverage on your terms, not the government's. It's Cover Nash. Call 465-0023, 465-0023. CoverNash.com is the website. Shane Ring is local. He is concerned. He is helpful. He is an expert when it comes to health insurance. It's Cover Nash.
Full forecast traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Thousands of Nashvillians without power. Many are being told by NES they are going to remain that way through the weekend and into early next week. Channel 4's Jeremy Finley pressing NES Vice President of Operations Brent Baker during today's briefing on the failures of the company to adequately inform customers.
From the very beginning, not a single person in the city has known when their power was coming back on. At this point, you have 86,000 people who still don't know when their power is coming back on. Has your notification system simply failed?
The size of this storm has really challenged us to be able to get that in the way that we can know where those customers' outages are. As I mentioned, we're at 80% assessment. Getting the assessments done will help us be able to know how to provide that information.
There are some people that are without power for 5 days. You said today, it could be next week. How are people supposed to know what they should do?
You can see every day we're providing more information. We're working diligently to get that information.
But we're on day 5, and it's still not ready?
We are working to get that ready to our customers.
So 5 days since the winter storm, NES still hasn't fully assessed the damage. And they say until they do, they can't say when power will be fully restored. Money News, Michelle Franzen.
Major market indexes were mixed in Thursday's trading. The Dow was up 56 points at the close. The S&P lost 9, and the Nasdaq fell 172 points. Shares of Microsoft fell in the company's worst daily performance in years, despite reporting better than expected revenue for the final quarter of 2025. Shares of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp parent company Meta rallied on news it beat profit expectations, even as the company has pledged to continue massive investments in developing artificial intelligence. Starbucks announced plans to open hundreds of new stores across the U.S. and add seating in existing locations. Executives plan smaller stores that are cheaper to build but still offer seating and drive-through service. Russian oil company Lukoil says it plans to sell its international assets to the U.S. Carlyle Group as the firm faces U.S. sanctions. The sale still requires approval from the U.S. Office of Foreign Assets Control.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. '24 eastbound between Briley Parkway and Harding Place. Got a stuck truck on the right shoulder. In Clarksville, got a couple of stuck trucks in the right lane. 24 westbound past Rossview Road. In Franklin, a crash involving two vehicles. 65 southbound past I-840. And then in Millersville, got a stalled vehicle. 65 northbound near Louisville Highway. Blackman area of Rutherford County got a crash. 840 westbound near I-24. I'm Ken Weaver.
Defense Systems, a life safety and security consultation firm specializing in physical security consultation and active violence mitigation. What does that mean to you? Well, Brink Fiddler describes it this way. Hope is not a plan. I say that a lot. Brink says that a lot because it's not. And we don't want anything negative to happen to you in your workplace, in your school, in your church. But if you're a decision maker where people gather, sadly, the fact is you have to consider it. Active shooter response training is their forte at Defense Systems. Workplace violence prevention, security improvement consultation, emergency and intruder action plans, rapid response medical, and they customize it all to your facility. They train up your employees to understand what to do in the event of a negative situation. That's the bottom line. Do you know what to do? Have you thought about it? I know I've gone through this training, and it is invaluable, and I know that you'll feel the same way. Call today, 615-236-6484, 236-6484, or online at defensesystems.com. Friends, Efficient Heating and Cooling want you to know that in these cold weather conditions, even if you have power, if your heater's not working properly, well, that can be a very big problem, especially with the cold weather conditions coming in again this weekend. I mean, it's still cold outside, but even colder over the next several days. Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling want to make sure that that heater's working as it should. So keep this number handy during the cold weather, 615-784-4424, 784-4424. Efficient will fix what ails your system. They just did it for me down in Mount Pleasant. I could not have asked for more. They got me running. We're not permanently solved because there's an issue with my heating system that is going to take a little bit of a longer thought process, but they got me up and running enough to know that I'm going to have heat during these cold winter evenings. Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling. He's going to make it right. I promise you that. If your heater's not ready, call Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling online at efficienthvac.net, efficienthvac.net, or call 615-784-4424. Bum 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 ba ba da ba 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 ba. Oh, hey, how are y'all? Matt Murphy Show continues. Hey Jackson, I got you know what I got?
A nincompoops tally?
I think you won. Actually,
I won pretty handedly.
So you already knew the nincompoops tally?
I did.
So why did you ask me about it?
Because I wanted to hear you say it.
Yeah, you won. So you're well positioned to take the crown away from yours truly.
It's been in here all week.
Come tomorrow. Well, it's mine. I could go take it anytime I want it. I'm leaving it there. I don't have to take it with me to the house, for goodness sake. Although I might, just because you said that. No. What I've got in here, I've got some fan mail. You know, we should re-rack that. Letters. I get fan mail from time to time. This actually comes in the form of a super text. 0969 is a big fan of the show. You want to hear this? This is the most uninformed, knee-jerk, baseless, reactionary commentary I think I've ever heard. I turned it on earlier for a few minutes and couldn't bear it. Can't believe this is still going on. And tonight, it's some of the most moronic radio I have ever heard on WTN. That's from 0969. Well, thank you. Thank you for listening, sir or ma'am. I did respond to this super texter because we're able to do that. I can't respond to everyone. There's too many of them. But I saw this one and could not help myself, and my response was as follows. Call me. Would love to hear your perspective. Also, how is this knee-jerk? What am I saying that is incorrect? So, I have not yet heard back from 0969. But I will try, sir or ma'am, to be less knee-jerk, more informed, less baseless, less reactionary, more commentary-focused. I'll try to be less moronic in my future endeavors. In the meantime, and I mean that, there's Ben on the subject of tree trimming. Hello, Ben.
Hi, guy. He came out here, he was in the forest floor looking at stuff. Went out there and talked to him. And I said, look.
Hey, Ben. Hey, Ben.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, you're on the radio, brother. How are you?
Oh, my goodness. I was talking to myself. I'm sorry, man.
I didn't think you were talking to me. I couldn't figure it out. Well, you're on.
Wow,
you're up, brother. I'm sorry. I'm sorry it took so long to get to you. It took so long to get to your call. You started talking to yourself. I don't blame you.
Oh, my God. Hey, listen, I'm trying to make it short. I love you, brother. Thank you for spreading the light in this world of so darkness. It is so crazy. But, no, I live out here in rural county in Ashton City. And 2 years ago, they came and painted our trees with red dots and yellow dots that were going to trim the trees. Guess what?
What's that?
There's not been, they haven't trimmed any trees.
Mm-hmm.
And that was 2 years ago. So, NES has dropped the ball. They've outsourced their tree trimming service, and that's why this situation is exasperated and a lot worse than it should be.
Well, there's no question, and I would agree, Ben, that there's no question the lack of tree trimming is a problem. And I want to make sure that I reiterate this because several people in, I would say, more affluent communities have reached out, and they've basically said, look, we didn't want our trees trimmed. And we told them not to trim our trees, and we're willing to accept what we're getting. And if that's the case, then okay. I mean, let me see. There was one person, and Ben, thank you for the call, and you keep warm out there. I agree with your point. We knew what we were in for. We didn't expect power anytime soon. They should have prepared better. But so there are some communities that are like, we didn't want them to trim our trees, and we told them so. Oh, well, okay. I mean, I suppose if the community is on the same page in that regard, but now maybe they're rethinking their approach. But there are plenty of communities and plenty of city streets and plenty of NES customers that had no idea that the lack of tree trimming was going on, and now they're left holding the bag, and they don't have power and haven't had power for 5 days, and there's no foreseeable time frame for them to get their power back. Secondarily, most of this is a crisis management situation. Like, my beef has become with management, obviously not the linemen. But even as I have a problem with the way that they're managing their company, the way that they're managing communications has been horrific. Horrific. People are getting text messages on their phones telling them their power's back on. They're sitting in their house and they know their power's not back on. I mean, that kind of stuff is just, it's unforgivable.
Why do they send texts about that? Don't you know?
Yeah, I mean, well...
Aren't you going to kind of figure that out?
Well, in a typical scenario, in a typical setting, actually, Jackson, what happens is they send you a text saying, hey, we have restored power to your area. If you still do not have power, let us know because there might be a specific issue with your home that we need to address. That's the way to do it. But apparently what these things are basically saying is, hey, congratulations, you got power back. See ya.
And they're in the dark.
Cindy has a thought on NES. Hello, Cindy. How are you?
Hey, I'm sitting in my truck charging my phone with the heat on. Looking up behind the hill behind me, they've had power. And yesterday I decided, after 3 nights of sleeping in the cold, I took me and my dog to a hotel, asked my neighbor, he has 3 dogs, if power comes back on, she shoot me a text. And so I get to the hotel, and not long after I was there, he texted me about 8 o'clock and said, electricity's on. I said, great. But I said, I'm going to stay, and, and then the house will be warm when I get home this morning. So that's what I did, canceled tonight, because I thought, I did 2 nights, got my money back, that wasn't no problem. About 2:30 this afternoon, power went back out. And power was on when I left yesterday. It was probably 5 or so, or at dark. Halfway down my street, I live on Ocala. Like the gentleman that called earlier, he said they're just a couple of blocks, they don't have power, but everybody else does. Well, about half of Ocala down the other end, they all have power. And from Knowlesville Road to that point, we don't have power. And then now it's gone back out, which I called and reported it as out again. And so far, about 4 hours later, still no power. And I almost got kicked out of the hotel because of my dog.
Mm.
But when he hears a noise, he's going to bark.
Right.
And I lost my husband December 4th.
Mm.
And so it's me and him in the house. And I have never, I never tell him to hush. Because when he barks, they got ears better than his ears are better than I do, have. And, I want him to let me know if he hears anything. And, they want to make it sound like he's the problem. Well, he hears a knock or a bang in the room next to us, he's going to bark at it. But anyway, because of the situation that we're all in, a lot of, people that I talk to, the ones that I talked to at the hotel, they still don't have power either. But, I thought, great, we got our power back on, and then now it's out again. And I have no idea, when it's going to come back on. So, like you said, and I was talking to my cousin yesterday, and we were talking about, I was telling him, I said, they are supposed to, they had a schedule where they'd come through, mark the trees that they were going to cut the limbs off of.
Mm-hmm.
Years ago I had one, they marked one and didn't mark the other. I said, chop them down. Take them out. They're half dead. Take them out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. And I have, it looks like a tornado has hit, like the house across the street has 2 huge limbs that fell. It kind of caught the power line that runs through their house, but it didn't pull it down. And then I watched the other big limb fall. The other house on the corner has trees on top of the house, or limbs, but it didn't go through. So it just looks like a tornado. Right. I have limbs everywhere.
Cindy, is there anything, I don't mean to rush you. I'm trying to get to as many people as possible. Is there anything we can do for you right now, or?
No, I guess I was sitting here charging my phone. I always enjoy listening to you. It's the first time I've ever called.
I appreciate that. I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure you're okay. Dog's okay. You're okay.
Yeah, I needed to wash clothes, but I didn't start him because he was sitting there just, eyes closing. So I decided just to lay down with him and try to get some rest. And he went to sleep, but I didn't. I guess I'm so tired. and exhausted from all of this that
Yeah, it's understandable.
I just couldn't sleep.
That's
But,
understandable.
You know, and the guy that, you know, whoever that was that sent that text, you know, he probably ain't without power. You know.
Well, I mean, yeah. Look, I mean, I've been doing this long enough, Cindy. You can't please everybody all the time. I mean, the old saying is, you can please some of the people some of the time, or what? Some of the people all of the time, and all of the people some of the time, but never all of the people all of the time. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
but Cindy, you just stay warm as you can, and keep that phone charged up, and keep that dog happy, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. You call me back. Don't make your first telephone call your last telephone call. Call me back, and if you need somebody to talk to, we're here to talk to you. That's what we're here for during these times. I mean, you know, I understand that this is a different kind of show. We're not dealing with issue after issue after issue. We typically, you know, cover 10, 12, 14 issues on any daily basis, but we've been focused in on this as best we can. And, you know, I get it that it's a little repetitive for some people, but I'm concerned about the people that are without power. I'm concerned with the people that are not being helped. And that's what we're here for in these times. Or at least that's what we try to be here for in these times. And hopefully we'll be here for you if you need us. 615-737-9986. Get more calls in here in a moment. Eurofix is a wonderful organization, and for 26 years, Aaron Stokes has been providing quality European auto repair at below dealer prices, and I am so glad that they are here. Warranties on all repairs that Eurofix performs, a rock-solid 3-year, 36,000-mile nationwide warranty, as a matter of fact, and they do it at below dealer pricing. You don't have to put up with dealer prices or get ghosted waiting on a callback. Eurofix fixes everything European, plus a rental car available at every appointment. Locations available in Nashville, Franklin, Belmead, Murfreesboro, and Mount Juliet. 844-EUROFIX. That's 844-EUROFIX, or visit myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com. Put your European automobile in the hands of Aaron Stokes, and you'll never look back. 5 locations to serve you at the one and only Eurofix. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So Josh has written in, and this is a fair point. Josh says, Matt, I'm having a hard time getting your position on the NES issue, basically saying they are complicit in the deaths of people. You just had a commercial about preparing for emergencies, and you said hope is not a plan. Would that not apply to power also? I was out for 2 days, but I had a plan. I had power, water, food, emergency items. It sucks, and I feel awful for those impacted. Thank you for all you're doing to help people. Love you, brother. I just can't get where you're at on this one. I think that's fair. Both of those things can be true at the same time. I did the same thing. I prepare, and you try to be as self-sufficient as you possibly can and prepare for the worst and hope for the best. At the same time, there are plenty of people that aren't in our situation, Josh, aren't in our circumstances. I'm thinking of the infirm and the elderly, those that are more dependent on the word of organizations that they pay every month to keep the lights on, like Nashville Electric Service. Here's the deal. I defended them on Monday night because I gathered additional information. I defended the linemen, certainly, and still do. I defend the people that are out in the field trying to get the lights back on, and plenty of us should lean on our own abilities and our own resources more so than just sitting around and waiting on somebody to come and help. That's true. But there's also a segment of society that they do depend on those things like electricity to live. And if it is determined that Nashville Electric abdicated their responsibility to make sure that they were prepped, I mean, they have to prep too, right? So if we apply, Josh, hope is not a plan to our world, well, I would expect that the company that I pay my electricity bill to every single month faithfully, and if I don't, they turn my electricity off, they have an obligation to live by that same credo, that hope is not a plan, and they should plan to provide maximum resources to getting the power back on for those least among us that cannot afford or are not able to go through those emergency procedures like us. I mean, that's a complex. I hope that makes sense. That, yes, we should be resilient and we should be self-sufficient as best we can, but there are plenty of our community members, our neighbors, that don't have that ability. I'm trying to reach out and help everyone that I can possibly. I want to do that, but the maximum help that I can provide is to put pressure on management at NES that have failed the customers that they serve. And I don't think there's any question about that. They have failed the customers that they serve because there was not prior planning in the immediate build-up to this event and in the long-term build-up to this event in terms of tree trimming and doing the things necessary to mitigate the disastrous consequences of what we're seeing around us today. And I hope that makes sense. I'm not mad at you. I mean, I appreciate the confusion, and as I said on the super text line, maybe I'm not being as clear as I should. Hopefully that clears it up. All right, tomorrow is the First Amendment Freestyle Friday edition. I'm hopeful that I wake up tomorrow and I don't have to talk about this at all because all of the lights are back on and everything's melted and everything's all well and good. It has been an interesting week and an interesting show. There's plenty of other things going on, including this vote. We mentioned it earlier today. There was a vote to keep the government open. 7 Republicans voted against it. They had their own reasons for doing so. We're going to analyze that and break it down for you tomorrow as we crank up another edition of the Matt Murphy Radio Show. I hope that you join us. I hope that you join us. And I thank you for being a part of the show today. I love every single one of you, even if you hate on me. For Jackson Williams, for Ken Weaver, for all of the crew, we appreciate you. Have a wonderful evening, folks. Stay warm. Hug your loved ones. So long, everybody.
Hey, this is Pastor Al, and join us on Super Talk 99.7, Sunday evenings from 7 to 8. We're going to look at the news from a biblical perspective.